Hey, welcome back to Métropole Grid. My name is Andre. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's June 10th, 2025. It's a Tuesday afternoon. It's getting warm again. Hopefully, I trust you all are well. Coming off of a weekend, we had family coming up to celebrate the weekend. It's my birthday on Thursday. That's the reason to celebrate. Don't cause attention. And it was nice. My stomach has been so bad this last couple 5 days. And it's still not good today. So I don't know what's going on. I'm stressed out about it. I can't have coffee. I'm like drinking chamomile tea instead. But yeah, we had to like reroute plans because I was just absolutely cooked. Hopefully you're well. We're gonna do better, I am assuming. But it's been a couple days. Ow, that was hot. Oh, my tea. Ow, owie, owie, hot tea. Good morning, Grid. Garrett, how's it going? Tron, Netrunner, how you doing? How's your weekend? Will she ever slide all the way down? Actually, Famani Phil, call for help. I'm pretty sure that the hopper behind that runner is actually getting her down because she's been stuck up there for about a month and 2 weeks. Uh, Hey, happy Tuesday, Eric. How you doing? I got to watch the first two games of last night's stream, not live. We had Arkham Knight last night, but hopefully it was well. Not until she has 8 credits or 4 cards in hand. I mean, like, you gotta do your due diligence and stay safe. Lazy, how you doing? Making time for the pre-stream bangers feels strong. Hey, Scrub. I think we had a couple soft songs in there. Hopefully well. Hey, Darshan, how you doing? Daria, how's your weekend? Did you go to any event and play in any big like event or something? What's going on? Hey Brennan, it's the Grid. Tried Champions last night. Rhino killed Wolverine, so Spider-Man called it quits. Then Ultron showed up, but we got him down halfway, but had to call it. It's a fun little game. Rhino is like pretty boring. Ultron's actually really good, like a pretty good scenario. I like Ultron and Claw a lot, but I think Rhinos should be a lot easier. The thing is, if you're a newer player and you just don't understand the threat the game puts off, you can just get flatlined by Rhino really quickly. That shirt. Hey Damian, how's it going? Damian, how you doing? Thanks so much for supporting the channel. I know you increased your Patreon support. I had to add your name to the Patreon scroll, and it turns out the font that I use, the Netrunner font that I've been using for a long time and Null Signal Games still uses to the day, does not support the sort of accents on the C or the D. So, or sorry, the C and the C. So I had to go in and like grab accents from something else and cobble it together. So it looks like 80% correct, but we got what we wanted to get done. Hopefully you're doing well. Hey, Nayeti, how you doing? How's your weekend? You do look like you're going through it. Oh, thank you, Phil. Jesus. Good afternoon. Hey, YV. Taught my little bro to play Corp today. I hope your stomach improves, dude. Thank you. I do hope too. Tonight is like date night, so Maddie and I are going out onto town and doing some stuff. It's actually we have a metro strike. Like public transportation is on strike this week in Montreal, which is kind of wild. I've never seen them before, and like power to them. But yeah, the metro, like the subway on buses only run between certain hours. So like the whole city is kind of weird right now. It's interesting. Anyways, but we're going downtown for a bit to do stuff, and I'm like, sure hope I don't shit myself. Hey Joe, how you doing? Try cold brew, it's much easier on the tummy. It's a drone. Yeah, probably. I had like acid reflux on the weekend, so I think the answer is I should just not be drinking coffee, because coffee is technically like a digestive, but I think some sort of acidity problem could be showing up. I don't know. It's fine. When stomach problems are so draining, hope you feel better. Thank you, Lazy. Hey Loshni, happy belated birthday. Oh no, not yet. It's on Thursday. Also, I no longer have Tuesday afternoon therapy rescheduled for non-Metroball Grid reasons. Good to hear. So I can finally catch a full Tuesday stream. Welcome. I've been jamming Marvel Champions solo after work. Love the game so much. What have you been playing? I got time to finish last night the Shuri. I was playing Shuri through Next Evolution on Expert, and no part of it was difficult. I do think Next Evolution is relatively simple, but that Shuri deck, I just built a Justice deck. I showed it off on the other channel on Friday, and it was just like very smooth. It just seems like numbers are good deck, which is a bit frustrating. Maybe not frustrating is the right word, but like not super interesting. It's just everything that you do just gives you a slight incremental value, and then you just have too much incremental value at some point. I did finally record beating Venom Goblin on Expert with magic that I've been doing on the channel, and oh my god, is the final video 6 hours. Like the final footage is 6 hours, and I have to edit it down from 6 hours. So that's a problem. I was in Boston as usual. Very good, very good. No worries. Thanks for putting effort. These letters are always making a mess. Yeah, it's hard. It's like Times New Roman showed up. I'm like, I don't want that in there. But no, I get it. I'm aware with those letters. As a Locksport enjoyer, the stream title got me curious. What have you cooked up? Spiral, how's it going? Speaking of Locksport, for my, well, hold on. I think I have to do this because I'm not sure. One of the presents I got from my brother and sister was, if I'm allowed to have one in this jurisdiction, a lockpicking kit. And so I started doing some basic lockpicking stuff. If I'm not allowed to have one, I just want to be very clear that this is a bit because I think it's very funny, but I don't actually have it. But yeah, I actually picked up something that I wanted to do for a bit. And it's been really satisfying so far. Just like figure out how the pins move and do some basic stuff. I've like got through 5 or 6 pin locks. I have one of those like setup ones, covert instruments, or I don't. It could be a joke. And I just have like the regular pins in it. I like safety pins, not spools or serrated, even though I have all that set up. And I can get through the 6 pins sometimes, 5 pins, fine. But I do think I need to pin it a bit harder. It feels like a couple of the pins are like basically already at the shear line and I don't even have to touch them that much. So I have to do a bit more work. We watching Lockpicking Lawyer? Yeah, we are. And I think the stuff that I do or don't have came from Lockpicking Lawyer's company, from my understanding. But yeah, it's those videos I probably recommend to everyone on YouTube at some point. They're really, really good. Next evolution isn't hard. I mean, I don't think so. So, okay, a big thing about Shuri. Oh, something just fell on a shelf. It's fine. The big thing about Shuri is that like Shuri's okay tanking hits. I do think a bunch of the next evolution villains are attacking really hard. But if you play a deck that you're okay to take the first hit a turn because you have so much healing because you're Shuri and you have enough allies that you can chump block, I think next evolution was relatively straightforward. I think the first and second scenario can have some variability because some of the villains are just harder than others. Some of the like the Mutant Slayer villains or whatever they're called. But I think like scenario 4, I don't even remember what it is. Oh yeah, it's Mr. Sinister. It's fine. The final scenario is fine. I don't know. Sorry if you found it difficult. Playing against Rhino from the core set with increased modular difficulty. I also ordered myself the next Evo expansion. Okay, cool. Yeah, next evolution is, I wouldn't say it's my favorite box, but it has some cool stuff in it for sure. Especially if you like that like narrative, that storyline. I don't know much about it. I'm excited to see Unuvum tilt again. We played this list on last Thursday. We had a really good time actually. It was like surprisingly chill. It didn't feel super inconsistent, and that's because it doesn't have any like wild multi-card combos, and it's just like, oh, you get like an extra 20 credits. Enjoy the game. It's legal to own, but you might have to answer some questions if you're found carrying it. I think it depends province to province, Spiral. So I'm in Canada, and I know Quebec has its own rules. I don't think I'm going to be carrying it if I do own it, but I do think it's the sort of thing that if they find it on you, it's a problem if you're doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing. I deleted that because you said next evolution. I thought I meant Mutant Genesis. Oh, okay. Beginning to the hobby, highly recommend checking out the Lockpickers United Discord. You can find it in the lockpicking subreddit. Oh, cool. Thank you. Yay, John. Hey, chat. Loving the Schrodinger's lockpicking segment. Yeah, I don't know if I have one or not. It's like really hard to tell sometimes. Hopefully you do well. Hey, David. Got to catch a matinee of Bring Her Back before my Monday night owner at my FLGS. Good times were had. Hope you are well. Thank you. Hope you enjoy your locals. I don't know what Bring Her Back is, but I'm assuming it's a film and that was good and you're happy about it. I had my house broken into. They just used a hammer though. How uncivilized. I think that's like the reality about lock picking and like locks in general. And this is, you know, a dire sentence in some ways, but it's important to know is that the door keeps honest people out. Sorry if this gets pretty dark pretty quickly, but the idea is if someone wants to circumvent a door or a lock, they can do it. That being said, locks are still pretty great, but a lot of locks people can open in like seconds if they're trained, or even just like put a rake in it and you're good. I'm not saying you should do that. In fact, definitely don't do it. But yeah, the idea is that like the door is there, and it can be circumvented, unfortunately. Anyways, that went a bit too dark too fast. How's everyone doing? It's a Tuesday. We're going to be diving into some Netrunner. I want to do a bit of a recap over the weekend because there were some tournaments this weekend. Specifically, it was OTG. I hadn't had time to watch OTG. Mind you, I had family this weekend, but that was the Off the Grid, which Orbital has been running this tournament in the Game Center in Minnesota now for, I want to say 6 or 7 years. It's been going for a really long time. This weekend, there was 30 players, I believe. I don't know if that was bigger than last year or not. I'm pretty sure some of the other tournaments have been attached to like bigger organized play kind of like official milestones like a nationals or a mega city or stuff like that. This one was technically only a CTK, and like that happens. I don't think you always land the same caliber of event if you apply year after year after year, so maybe that feels like a bit of a bummer to Josh, but no doubt people still showed up. There's also like a cash prize attached. I think it was $500 if you came in first place. I don't know how much that moved the needle on people participating. I have no doubt that some people that was actually a barrier to participating. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if I would participate in a cash prize tournament, but also like having the ability to make traveling for a tournament make sense if I won the tournament would maybe encourage me to travel, as much as that might be some crooked gambler's fallacy in there. Lockpicking solo Netrunner in a way. How's it going, Lamb? Same as last year, 31 and 32. Okay, cool. It's been 8 years. Damn. Depends on the lock. Actually, how's it going? I haven't caught the second episode of the podcast. Any way that you want to sell it to me? Depends on the lock. Yeah, some locks more than others, but most like commercial house locks, padlocks are just a joke too. Like padlocks, by the way, are just security theater. I don't know if you've seen the Lockpicking Lawyer, but like a lot of the, you know, master padlocks are like hilariously security theater. So that is what it is. But there are some good ones for sure. Bring Her Back is a horror film from the same writing directing team as Talk to Me a couple years ago. I don't know if I've seen either of those, but my partner probably has because she's really into the horror films. Tonight, we're going to try and see Sinners and Thunderbolts, Asterix. We're going for a double feature. I am very excited for Sinners because I know it's really quite good. And Thunderbolts, it's at the movie theater. So why not? That's kind of how we're saying it. Windows are usually easier to get through than doors. Be clear, I've never broken into a building illegally. Yeah, no, me too. But like, yeah, it is what it is. Locks definitely keep out drunk people though. Yeah, that's the point. Like locks are good. Everyone should have locks. I know I've grown up in places where people don't lock their doors, and like, yeah, that's also uncomfortable for some people, but it's weird. You want to take the chance where the event could just be cheaper for everyone? Makes sense for one person, and you want to take a chance where the event could be cheaper for everyone? Oh yeah, I agree. Actually, imagine that you showed up and then they gave you this sort of like, oh, you came in, here's a refund for your travel. I mean, I wish. That's a very European mindset, Axu. But yeah, no, I hear you. I do think it's more so maybe I'm talking about other card game tournaments where it's like first place gets a prize and then like, you know, the top 8 gets some amount of money. So traveling makes sense. This is usually attached to games that have huge prize pools. And generally these are TCGs. Definitely don't want that Netrunner, but you know what I mean. I'd always go to OTG Cash or No Cash. Yeah, I've never been. I've been to the Game Center multiple times. That's used to be where the World Championship of Netrunner used to be, because the Game Center was attached to the Fantasy Flight Game Center, or it is the Game Center. It became the Game Center once whatever his name, Peterson, bought it back after he left. It's political, but the Game Center is the place that the Worlds 2018, 2017, 2016, every single Netrunner Worlds has happened there classically, which is pretty cool. Selling episode 2, I call some group of players terrorists and we have Jai telling all his life's history. It's pretty good. Go away, a lot better than the first episode IMO. I enjoyed the first episode. Sinners is so good. Yeah, I'm very excited. I saw the trailer for Sinners a long time ago, and then I didn't realize that was that film. And then from my understanding also like what it entails is kind of different than what like the trailer pitches. Like it's about jazz and vampires, I think. Like I'm totally in. Sinners incredible. I have a great time. Thank you. Hey, Wenjong. Hey, Andre. Hi, chat. Managed to catch some Tuesday action today. Congratulations, Wenjong. I think we're going to do a bit of a spoiler, but we'll talk about the tournament in a bit. But I do believe Wenjong went down there and did pretty well, so hopefully you had a good time. I know you're traveling around and settling down. Padlocks are entirely security theater? Yeah, they are. They're pretty bad. Can't get anyone else to go see Sinners. Just thinking of seeing it by myself at this point. Honestly, Emily, I would kind of recommend it. I think some people feel sad about going to a movie theater on your own. Honestly, I think I've only done it once or twice. I know Pat does it a lot, and like power to him. I think it's like generally when I go to a movie, I don't want to talk to anyone. I want to talk to someone after the movie. So maybe that's like the social part, but I want to just like shut down and watch the thing, like shut up and sit down and watch the thing. So I kind of see going alone making a bit of sense. So I wouldn't feel bad about it. I think it's the sort of thing that you'll enjoy more than you think you will if you're on the fence. Hey, Dan, how's it going? Axie's episode. Great, making morning routines much more enjoyable, having Brandon's laugh in the ear. Yeah, there's something to be said about the podcast ideally being consistent and regular, because there are a lot of podcasts I listen to because they are regular and because they're good. So that's good to hear. Does Jai explain why he loved PU? Oh no. Hey Gyro. Hey Solom, I may have lost Deck of the Week by 1, but at least I get to see Andre have to play Nuveng again. Solom, how's it going? I'm surprised. You seem to be locked in for it. I will definitely play the deck that you have listed. I want to say the title is probably content warning. Like, I don't know if you can land a title like that on the front page of Netrunner DB and be happy with it. So, like, I don't know. There's a couple titles recently that have just been like way heavier than I think they should be. That being said, I think the deck is really fun. I wonder how that deck holds up in a world in which people are trying to make you float a single tag and that being flatline material with all the Pravdivosts, or maybe even more modernly, the Nebulas. But I think it's fun. Time for some Netrunner. Kaku, how's it going? Some like gambling and stakes heightens how intense things feel and the excitement of it all. I don't imagine anyone coming into these is make or break for their finances. Is make or break? No, exactly. I don't think it is make or break for finances. If the money gets a bit higher, it's obviously a bit different. I think people are like, people are very quick to think that if there's $500 on the line, American, that the sort of camaraderie and spirit of Netrunner will feel different. The idea is that in Netrunner, a lot of times people ask for takebacks, and a lot of people, you know, speak somewhat down on other card games where maybe the community is not as forgiving. I don't even know if that's the term, but you know what I mean, right? Like, takebacks happen at all levels of tables. Like mechanical misplays, even at world championships, you'll see people be like, yeah, you can take that back, it's fine, because they don't want to win because your opponent made a series of mistakes or a technical mistake. They want to win because they played the game better, or their deck was good, or what, any of the other things they convince themselves are more important. I think there's a fear that introducing money to the situation makes this more of a transactional interaction, and then, you know, that sort of like free goodwill, that goodwill is challenged, and I don't think we've seen it. I don't think there's any evidence from that from OTG, but I don't think it's where I'd want the game to trend. Love watching movies by myself, especially if I'm traveling solo, which I also enjoy doing. Yeah, that's a cool one too. I think if you're somewhere and you're, you know, you want to sit down for a bit and get some air conditioning, going to a movie theater and kicking up for 2 hours is pretty good. Solo cinema trip is go to, yeah, there you go. Talking after is fun, and going to get drinks after is fun. Yeah, solo theater rules, honestly, especially if it's a dine-in spot with beer. We have those theaters there that like bring you food and stuff, and like, I don't think I want that. I finally settled on what I like to play, Seb and Off, I think. Those are fun decks. My parents grew up in Europe, in Slovenia. And my mom's idea of what the cinema is, it was a classy thing that you dressed up and you went to the theater and you sat and you watched your, you know, your good film circa 1960s, 1970s, whenever she was in her 20s going to see films. And so I think when she looks at American theaters where there's like food and drink and it's like dirty and like sticky, she like doesn't like it. She thinks it loses the sort of, you know, silver screen appeal. And, you know, that was also 50 years ago or whatever. But I always find that really funny. I'm not someone who brings, well, that's not true. I'll bring snacks, but I'm not a big food person at theater. I just like to sit down and watch. I don't know. I think my mom has got that in my head for some reason. Waiting by the phone all week, expecting to hear back about a job. Oh, Dan, best of luck with the phone wait. That definitely doesn't land easy all the time just to be waiting there, but I'm hoping for the best. Let us know how it goes, huh? Is Nebula playing kill combos now? Yeah, Roshni, we'll bring up some lists. I think CTZ published a list that CTZ did well at the event. Brandon, mind you, came first at Toronto and NPC just like 2 weekends ago. The idea is that you score out a false lead, fast advance, and then with Oppo research, basically you can put a runner in a situation where they just can't clear all the tags, and then they die to either double Scorched Earth or Scorched Earth touch-ups if they're trying to win off of Steel Skin Scarring. It's really gross. I think Nebula seems incredibly unhealthy. It is not winning every event, and there's a bunch of events where it's actually doing relatively poorly, but we're going to see a lot of, you know, iterations. It just kind of seems messed up that for 1 credit you can score a false lead on turn 2. I don't like it. It's hard to get over that. It's already light gambling just winning the tournament. Oh yeah, for sure, but the stakes are like non-financial, and it feels like that separates it for some reason. I don't honestly know. I don't know if I've said hi, Lars. Happy Tuesday. OTG was very civil even with the cash prize. Hey, Rocket Stars. I have no doubt it was. I haven't watched a stream, and I'm not watching the stream to see if someone starts throwing elbows or whatever. But yeah, I have no doubt it was civil. For what it's worth, there was tournaments back in the day, and by back in the day, at this point, I realize how long we've been doing this for. Around like 2017, 2016, maybe a decade ago, where the kind of, I would say, precursor to the NPC, the ANRPC, the Android Netrunner Player Circuit, some of them were doing cash events. And there's some funny memes because of it. I know certain places could not run cash events because either stores didn't want to do that, or because of the legality, the local legality says that you can't do that because then you have to fall into gambling laws and stuff like that. But I don't think I've heard of any cash event in the past that was deemed to be a failure because of the way that people are acting. But that being said, I'm not a big cash prize fan. OTG's atmosphere is wild. I like so much passion and love in the room. Yeah, and also for it being in Game Center, I think does add a pretty interesting vibe, like a very, very potent vibe to be like, oh, this is, a lot of people have been there before to play Netrunner at a high level. Netrunner is the kind of game where you can still have enjoyed yourself when your opponent steals 9 points with a trick shot. Yeah, if you said deep dive, maybe not. But yeah, that is a really cool thing about Netrunner that's like not present in a lot of other card games. Is sometimes losing in Netrunner is fun. It usually is, actually. Depends how you lose, but usually is. I don't like the idea of playing for money. Maybe that makes me close-minded. No, that's fine. You can have your opinion. I don't think I like playing for money. It's not my favorite thing. Seb with 3 Hannahs leads to some really wild and fun combo turns. I know one of the lists, the one that Davs I think was playing, was only on 1 Hannah back at the Summer Showdown, and I think the modern versions are now on 2 or 3. And it's just like such a cool combo card because you can use it for tempo, doing Praxis stuff, going archives, getting like 6-7 click turns. I don't think that's the best way to use Praxis, but I remember when we first played Seb, just getting Hannah down as a tempo tool to use like both buttons on Hannah on the same turn sometimes was correct. I had to look up what is a Zoomer GLC. It's hard to catch up constantly. I don't want money tournament changes the current. I don't something money tournament changes the culture drastically. But if it becomes a norm and with player numbers increasing, the money increasing could make the experience less nice. I agree. Yeah. Slovenia is fantastic. Martin, how's it going? Yes, it is. It is really special. That's where my parents came from. They immigrated in the 80s. I haven't been back since before the pandemic, but most of my family is there, and it's quite lovely. It's a very special place. I miss it. Try and go to the cinema at least once a week, and you just got to go it solo. Otherwise, you'll just miss out on some great films. There's a police raid on a local bar where they were playing cash bingo without a valid license or something. Oh, oops. It's not good. Hey, Mr. Diggs, I'm doing well. How are you doing? My stomach's not been great, but I've been okay. We were trying to build Deep Dive Seb, and now that's a deck that plays Hannah. I guess you can. You don't play the transfers, but nobody ices up any central besides HQ really well against Seb. Like, maybe you can just do it. I don't know. Deep Dive is still the most entertaining card in the game. I think it's just a little too easy for Sable to utilize. The Flourish or Ripping 8 off the top is one of the more dramatic cards. I think we used to have cards like that were dramatic. Some people got frustrated, but like Caprice Nase, or let's say just the Future Perfect. You've seen games that are won or lost based off of a side game off of a central server or like even archives. And sometimes that's really dramatic. If you go back on the channel, you'll find I edited the heck out of the side games because they are fun television, as much as some players don't like to lose or win their tournament based off of a 1-in-3 die roll, if they want to call it that, which side games aren't necessarily die rolls. Only on the last possible turn do they truly become die rolls unless you think you can predict your opponent. And I'll give you that. Yeah, when it comes to things like Stargate is kind of the same, but it's a bit more boring. The thing is the runner has information as the corporation has information, and that's interesting. I want to be very clear. I hit enter on Netrunner DB a while ago. It looks like it's not running very quickly, so we'll have to live in that. But Deep Dive the Flourish of revealing 8 and seeing the whiffs, like that is exciting for sure. I do feel like I'd be happier in a world where corporations feel like they can do more to make this difficult, or also make it so you can't do 2 deep dives and still have 3 clicks in a single turn, so you can win off 1 turn. Of course, but that is the change in the meta. The power level of Corp and Runner changed drastically, so I imagine this will be addressed at some point. I don't think TFV is as egregious as Deep Dive. No, definitely not. I just think some people, like, also lived in a world where Caprice Nase, like the side game won or lost you the game on the remote server. And so that was just a different Netrunner that it doesn't feel like we have this sort of ability in the game right now. Shout out to Adrian Sites. I don't know what the card says. But yeah, there were a lot more games because Future Perfect was a 2 of in basically every Jinteki deck for a long time. So this showed up a lot more. That's for sure. I'd love to see a Jinteki idea around side games. Yeah, I mean, NSG retemplated side games, right? We saw a whole bunch of side games in the Liberation cycle. Obviously, we didn't see any in Elevation, which is not too surprising. That's meant to be a bit of a pared down set, but I wouldn't be super surprised. We did classically have a side game, Jinteki Identity. What was its name? I don't even know its name anymore. Hyobu Precog? I mean, Hyobu's there. It's 1 server, it's 1 turn, but it's there. Selmir, how's it going? What is the one called? I had a lot of decks that I played with Identity. Nisei Division. Oh, Rohit, yeah, like that should have been obvious, shouldn't it? Warlock, how's it going? I want to promise you, this is going this slowly. Hyobu Precog should apply to all servers. IMO, it'd be busted if it was Lars. It'd be very, very, very strong. This is the only one that cared about side games. It says when you reveal and secretly spend credits, spend 1. This is weird because it's not like a straight up econ card. It technically is. But the bigger thing with this is this just changes. It's like it kind of changes the math on what you think. So generally in a side game, it's not 33%, 33%, 33%, because bidding 2 is more expensive. And a lot of board states, especially if you're playing a Jinteki deck, that is more expensive. So you would say that the weights are usually weighted more towards the cheaper options. This means if you bid 0, you gain a credit. If you bid 1, it's nothing. And if you bid 2, you only bid 1. And that actually like shifts things a lot. If you want to just make money and just fire the side games, you can just basically make anything that's a side game a pop-up window. So we had like cheap side game ice that was I wish a bit harder to break. Shout out to Snowflake. But I know some of my first decks ever on Netrunner DB were Nisei Division decks that just used Caprice Nisei, and then even got more counters in the Caprice Nisei. There used to be this 3-1 that just said put an agenda counter on something with a win scored ability. It was really, really good. Anyways, I think we could see something like it. I think side games are kind of fun. They're kind of cool. They do slow the game down, so you have to be careful there's not too many in the game because it's one interaction that usually takes about a minute, sometimes a bit more. So you have to watch out a bit, but it's cool. I love to see, excuse me, I haven't played with Future Perfect, but it seems almost like my ideal defensive 5-3 no notes. That's exactly how it came out at Cold Lava. So 5-3 saw like literally no play, and then Future Perfect came out, and it was like, wait, this 5-3 is good. Sometimes you scored it out. It's very important to know that the pace of the game back then was a lot slower. So a lot of times the corporation did not rush out their first agenda on turn 1 or turn 1 to turn 6. Often they didn't. Sometimes they did. If they're a fast events deck, they wanted to do a bit faster. But if you're playing a bit of like a mid-range Glacier deck, you didn't have agendas that when you scored them gave you a lot of money. It wasn't like an off-world office that if you scored it out, it pushed you forwards. The best you had was an accelerated beta test, which if you fired this, and a lot of people didn't in the early game because they were terrified, that would be a problem if this scored out. But you could also fast advance this from hand. But then Future Perfect came out, and then when Future Perfect came out, people were like, wait a second, I can actually now play a lot of 3-pointers. I think some decks were playing 21 points because it just lined up well with a lot of 3-pointers and just never scored them unless they were on 4 points and it was the last agenda, in which this text wasn't active. But this was the first 5-3 in the history of the game that people were like, oh, this is actually really good. And unfortunately, I think that sort of information was understood by FFG at the time, and because it takes a while for production and response and all this sort of stuff, because the stuff is usually produced and tested and printed and approved like 6 months to a year, my guess is, before it actually hits markets. We got a string of very defensive 5-3s for a long time. I felt like the only 5-3s I would ever see any play based off of people's response were 5-3s that had busted defensive abilities, and so we saw a lot of defensive 5-3s for a long time in a row, which they were very good and playable. Some of them ended up banned, some of them ended up never banned but broken. Shout out to Snowflake, where I lost like 4 side games in a row and haven't been conditioned to always break it. The numbers of Snowflake are like pretty good, right? Is it 1 to res or is it 2 to res? It's like 3 strength. I really wish we had more cards like this that were just like the subroutine to res cost ratio. The subroutine isn't like game winning, but you'd rather fire the subroutine than break the thing. I think that's always really fun, as long as the subroutine isn't like hella cracked. Like I don't want a slot machine, but I just like it where the math kind of suggests, and unfortunately the math did not suggest. With Corroder, you broke this for 2, and generally the side game was 0 to 2, and then the sunk cost or the lost cost of having already run, you should always break this. You should never play the side game. And I think that was the bummer. I think we wanted a nice that had like an on-encounter side game that had less stakes, just so that you could fire more and more side games, as much as that does slow the game down. It's just like, this doesn't make a lot of sense. This fires as your early gear check, and then once they have the Corroder, they break this for 2, and side gaming through this, sometimes it's cheaper than 2, but it's never more expensive. So you should almost always break it. Every faction should have a defensive 5-3 and a win con 5-3, equal on salvo or degree mill and re-education. Yeah, maybe. I think right now, the defensive 5-3s don't feel as egregious. I do really appreciate things, and funny enough, Bologna falls into that camp, but I do really like the identities, or sorry, the big agendas that have a defensive mode and an offensive mode. Like, I'm glad Basalt Spire does something when you score it. Of course it could, and it should. And I like that it's classically better when you score it, because it incentivizes you to push it in the remote server. SDS is weird because it's in the middle, right? It's neither good nor bad. And Equal on the other side, it's like, it's good because it's a 5-3, but it has no reason to be scored out. I think it's hard to find the medium of where you want it to be, because I do like it when the corporation wants to score their agendas. And while you do want to score an Echo because it's a 5-3, we've also seen a lot of 5-3s that you have no interest scoring. It's weird that Bologna breaks both of that and also is banned, but you know what I mean? You need help, who hurt you? Is Mari kill player? Yeah. Just give me all the 5-3s, the defensives and the offensive one. Bologna measured response will be a bit much. Yeah, for sure. Basalt is so cool. I think Basalt is like probably a bit busted. I don't think we've discovered it yet, and it's not showing up in a lot of decks, but having access to this recursion loop, especially in a world where, like, look at the front page, like playing measured response over and over again, you now always have to play around measured response. Now, if an operation is in the bin, it's not in the bin, it's always in the hand. So playing around the double measure response is very difficult. Like, this ability seems incredibly strong. We just haven't seen a lot of decks that leverage it, but it is just like a really messed up ability on a 5-3. This like feels more, well, it's weird. It's like, this is what I want Ingatan's text to be, and it's not. Shout out to Ingatan or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's not exactly true, but really, really good. Basharon is offensive defense. The defense is the 4 turns it buys. The defense is winning when you score it. Oh boy. Anyways, the 5-3s are in a they don't seem to be in a super cursed spot right now. Besides HB, that seems to be in a really cursed agenda suite spot, and it's not making me incredibly excited. Ingitana's Busta, find out my write-up coming soon. So Dari, I want to be very clear just so that I don't get roasted in the comments. I think Ingitana is good and fine. I think Off the Books is good and fine, and actually quite good if you get it. I think the thing that annoys me about Ingitana is that how restrictive this clause is compared to like how cool Vitruvius was. I don't think it's a bad effect. I just think compared to Vitruvius, it's like upsetting. But like jamming a card clicklessly is really kind of good. I think that's the cool thing about Off the Books is that the clickless install is actually the best part of it, which Vitruvius doesn't do. But Vitruvius you generally use for operations, which is more fun, if you ask me. All right, my stomach doesn't feel good. I don't know if the string is going to be too long. We'll see how far we get through this. Let's look at some results. So actually, we're going to spoil a bit here because this puts a link to the Maker's Eye, because I do believe Wenjong posted it. So I opened up the least interesting Wenjong list, I think. But this is from OTG. 30 players showed up. It was a top 8 cut, which is like kind of buck wild for a 30 player event. I think that's more fun for a 2-day event, but going from 30 to 8, it's like a third of the field basically makes the top cut. I think the recommendations for a CTK is not to have a top 8 double elimination, but it's like, it is OTG. You're going to have fun. People came out for the whole weekend, but yeah, top 8 from a 30 player event like makes no sense, but I'm glad it happened. That's for sure. So this was the distribution going into Swiss. If you want to know more, this is the Maker's Eye.versal.app. This is Spider put it together. Spider, bro, I want to say. And so you can actually look up different tournaments and it gives you a different analysis. There's a lot of data that I don't know how to fully parse yet because I'm not incredibly comfortable with the graphs and the charts because they get pretty technical at some points. But you get to see a lot of like cool matrices and stuff like that. So distribution fairly even. It looks like the shapers have all moved to mag or mostly moved to mag, which is not surprised. Sable's still doing the best thing. Oh, it tells you the names of the identities on each thing. Not a lot of Seb representation, only one player, but Hosh is just showing up. More ESSA than I think we've seen at a tournament, which is kind of cool. That is mostly it. Is there any way to res assets upgrades for free left in the game? Trust operation, eminent domain. I think that's probably it. If we go to the top cut, this is the conversion rate, and it looks like Sable starts to take up a big slot. This is not too uncommon to see half the top cut be Sable, and we have Shapers and Anarchs on the other side, so pretty neat. Vovo, I mean sort of, but I don't think that's what Emily probably means. Like, yeah, you could say like, what's it called? Makota Lenki grid, right? Cool. Runner performance. So this is a win rate chart, and oh my god, did Lat have an 83% win rate across 7 games? That's pretty buck wild. So this is win rate. I don't know what the 2 charts are. This is where I'm gonna expose my inability to read. So 7 games, 1 of 1 player. So what does 3.88x mean? Is that conversion rate? I think that might be conversion rate. Does anybody know what this is? That was Lat. That Lat was just Wenjong. Oh my god, that makes sense. Yeah, there's only 1 Lat player and it was a Wenjong. So yeah, that means Wenjong won a lot of games, but that's hilarious. On the other side of runner things, these are all runner lists, right? Like what didn't perform? Anarch seemed like it performed abysmally. 29% win rate on Hoshiko, which is one of the most represented identities. SLU, Phoenix, Seb, nobody hitting near 50, and then everybody else basically doing above 50. Mag, bad conversion rate is my guess. There was a lot of mags, only one in the cut. Sable's still doing fine, everybody else doing fine. One Arasana player. Who was playing Ari? Shu, cool. That's not Shoe Flower, that's a different Shu. Shu from, I want to say... I can figure this one out. Georgia, I think? Corp representation, also relatively even. Nebula showing up, 1 player playing Synapse, that's cool. On the Wayland side, Op being super represented. I do think there's different Op archetypes, way more HB than I thought. This is actually the most amount of PD that I have seen in an event. 3 Iswax. Wenjong and friends. And then we have Alco, PTU, and RH. Normally Alco is the biggest. On here, Leo is also not well represented. It's a 30 player event though, so it's not like massive data, but very, very interesting. If you look at the core performance, Iswax doing well again. A lot of Wenjong there, I imagine. And then in terms of over 50%, Corps don't seem to be doing that poorly. And that makes sense when you look at a runner chart like this. Like they are going to be, you know, mirrors of each other. Nebula is doing okay. 61%. Actually, that's pretty better than okay. PD not performing well. Poetry, okay, doing all right. Thule, weird numbers doing all right too. Leo not doing anything really. And then the op stuff converting and nothing else of note. So kind of wild. And then you can see the matchup spread, and the matchup spread is actually fascinating. So I think the matchup spread we have to look at if we want to look at the performant runners is like, what is beating Lat consistently, which there's actually probably not a lot of data on that. What is beating Sable consistently? And then Maggie, where's Maggie? Oh, Mag's over here. So this is matchup spread. So I don't know who the numbers are. Sable is 2010. So Sable won a lot of the games. Is that what this means? So anything that Sable did poorly into? Sable did poorly into Iswak. But everybody did poorly into Iswak is my read. Iswak went in 1 and 9. Like the entire meta is off of this data point, which is like everyone did poorly into Iswak. So 0, 5, 0, 2. Yeah, like I can't get data from that. And so then the idea is like Sable was really, really well. It did great unless you played into Iswak, where it got like half of its losses. That's hilarious. I don't think this data is worth diving into too much. There's just not a lot of it. Essa into Nebula didn't work out, and I think that's that's weird. I would assume it's somewhere in the middle, where if Essa just gets hand size, Nebula can't do its thing. But I do think a lot of the Nebula decks are actually scoring out and really have to score out. I think CTZ's write-up was talking about that too, but like scoring to 7 happens in most of the matchups. But if Essa just drops a way to get up to hand size with Marrow, the Essa can't run that often, which means Nebula is going to do some weird stuff to you. My guess is like Nebula is right now in the meta the thing that's just kind of the fun destroyer, where like if you don't have a well-oiled deck that can afford to run and is very aggressive, Nebula just kind of dunks on you. So that's probably in the data. We're kind of seeing that as much as it's not a lot of data to look at. CDZ's Dow's deck is wild. We ran into Fuddruckers, I think, last week. I got pretty salty at the end because it was just like big deep dive and I totally didn't see it coming. I'm like, oh, that sucks. But yeah, it's a Dow deck that wants a combo deep dive for like 5-6 clicks. How's it going, Swide? Hey droids, generally shocked that Iswak is the most represented Jinteki ID. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like Wenjong playing Iswak is kind of a given, and Wenjong, for those who don't know, has been playing Iswak and almost exclusively Iswak for a long time. I want to shout out Wenjong. Did some degree meal sessions last year. I've had the pleasure of sitting down and practicing with Wenjong for a while, and even going into Worlds last year. If I can spoil this, Wenjong was playing ASA group, and then at the last minute transitioned off of ASA to play Iswak at Worlds. I think Wenjong still did relatively well at Worlds. I don't know if the Iswak choice was the right choice. I think there was a game loss at Worlds involving Iswak missing the Iswak trigger, which is a bit of a bummer for sure. But yeah, it's just been holding on to that identity. And I was very surprised to see Iswak doing anything. And we'll show the Iswak list because it's definitely fascinating. But this is not the kill Iswak. And that's something that Wenjong's had going for Wenjong for a long time, is that Wenjong had the kill Iswak lists. I call the Wenjong trick, which is data loop into Anemone. That is the Wenjong. And unfortunately, it doesn't exist in the meta anymore, let alone this meta is very good at not dying. And so the Iswak list is basically just like Harmony Medtech circa 2016, which is just you score 2 agendas, the runner has to steal 3. And it looks like that's been working out enough. And I don't know exactly what runners, how they're playing against the matchup. I think I'd have to review the VOD to understand whether they're slowing down to play against kill. But I guess an open deck list, they're just like losing to Honest Glacier, which is kind of cool to see, considering, you know, people are pretty doomer about the meta. I do think on the runner side, people have spent a lot of slots and have slowed down and have like hurt their matchup against mid-range Glacier on the basis that they have to add tech cards and they're dealing with assets, which seems super prevalent for the last couple tournaments over the last month, that like Iswak is probably in a good spot to capitalize on that. I think it's also less fiddly than things like Atea that weren't super positioned at this event or weren't super present at this event. So that kind of makes sense. So I didn't get to play the Iswak. Yeah, I want to see it. Daria, you were on what? PD, and I don't know what your runner was. Iswak with a punitive is really interesting. I do think I'm not sure actually what Wenjong played at Worlds, but I think a couple of the versions that Wenjong was on is you just cut the kill and place 3 seamless and just say like, you don't know what I'm doing. And that helps you a lot. It's like crop rotation. You get better at playing Iswak by practicing something else for a while. Yeah, for sure. And actually, like, that is an overarching idea with Netrunner in general, that the more that you are generalized in one archetype, it actually does serve you well to play other things, let alone the other side of the table. That helps a heck of a lot, right? Like, I guess this is not exactly what you're saying, but if you lose against Nebula a lot, play Nebula for a bit. It helps a lot to understand what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. Nebula is also just frustrating and unfun to play against. I'm having a hard time to find why, but I find playing against it just boring. I agree, David. Unless I'm playing a deck that's built to be running every turn, like Sable's a really fun matchup, as much as they might not have fun. It's, I really don't care for it. Nebula encourages the use of Chesva even out of faction. Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't think I like that, though. I think Chesva's a bit of a messed up card. At this size, player skill weighs a lot, not really read to the meta. I agree. I think this is not a massive enough tournament to get like really big meta macro reads off of it. So I'm not going to dive into the numbers too much. But But yeah, it's interesting to see what people thought would go well, but also like people just brought what they liked to some extent. This was a CTK. I want to be very clear, barring the $500 thing, which you can, you know, surmise how much that impacts people's decisions going into this event, or the OTG name. But it was a CTK, right? Like it was a casual tournament to get. Yeah, it was a CTK. Like it's a CTK. It's fine. What's ASOC doing with a punitive measure? Scoring in remote server droids. We'll show the list. It's been published already. It's really cool. Go Wenjang, MON crew, hey Cody. Will there be an Eternal tournament? Hey Music. There's one the week and after this one. Oh, cool. Yeah. Eternal, people constantly play Eternal in leagues and stuff, from my understanding. I'm not hyper plugged into Eternal. I was very lucky and happy to be part of the Eternal Super League earlier this year, which was a lot of fun. But I imagine when the new set comes out, that gets more of the attention for standards and startup and core, more than Eternal is my guess. But I know there's always like an Eternal league going on in the background of GLC and other stuff. Nice t-shirt. Hey, thanks, Alec. I was wearing my own one yesterday. This t-shirt fits well. Like it's quite nice. I'm really happy with this one. One deep dive Sable, no multi-access, 0 meaningful deep dives all day. Oh, you played one deep dive Sable, no multi-access. Yeah, I don't think I believe in one deep dive Sable. I think the deep dive influence is like a very important influence to make the rest of the deck functional against a wide field. Playing my favorite decks is why my Seb deck only had 2 Gourmands at the moment. The third is perpetually in the Pudmo deck. That's what you gotta watch out for. I know I run into that with other games like Marvel Champions and Arkham, where it's like, oh, my collection is divided between 7 different decks. And that's because I build decks also for like my partner and have multiple decks at the same time. Mine fits great, which is a treasure when you're as big as me. For chat, I'm very tall. Yes, Alec is very, very, very tall. Eternal Mint. I need to work out what to play in my first tournament. I'm not super heavy with any decks post-rotation. Emily, do you know what faction you enjoy? Like, what sort of play style you like? Do you like to be aggressive? How do you like to win games? Stuff like that. It's like the meta is relatively wide, and I want to be very clear about that. Like, again, numbers in this tournament are too small, I think, to get any big thing out of it. But like, it feels like every faction has 2 or 3 decks that are competitive and consistent. I would say that on the runner side. On the corp side, I think HB is the one that's probably a bit more limited, but you can play Jinteki Damage, you can play Jinteki Acids, you can play Jinteki Glaciers, Glacier. NBN has some Acid decks, it has Kill decks, it has Fast Event decks, and Wayland actually has a lot of options too. So it's like, the meta is strange, and I don't think it's my favorite meta right now. Obviously this will get changed in the near future before, I'm assuming, Continental season starts. But it does feel like every faction has at least 2 competitive decks, maybe more, like at least is the keyword there. So it's kind of cool. OTG, yeah, OTG was 30 players. There's an online Eternal tournament in a few weeks as a part of Fly to EMEA. Oh, super cool. Hey, Jeremiah, how's it going? I always strike to have 6 decks built at once, no Jinteki usually. Oh, wow, you can see people's journeys. I don't want to look at that. That's really cool. This website's great. The matchups for it's really cool. Seeing this for like a world tier event with like, you know, 100 people is sick. I think I should actually look at this when it comes to the Lu Ob matchup is 0-0. Jesse V versus Jesse V Drew. Holy shit, Jesse V. Undefeated. Cool. Anyways, let's look at some of the lists, and by some of the lists, I think some of them have been published so far. So I'll start here. This is not the most interesting list that I think Wenjang published. This is similar to D's Good Mags list and played very similarly. So this is just basically, you know, control shaper that closed with the deep dive, if you want to call it control. I think it is control. So you have a bit of tech here. You have the no free lunch. You have Hannah because you're deep diving. That seems good. Run telework, which I'm surprised. It's a bit slow, but it seems good enough. No console, kind of like that. I think Wenjang was saying that originally trying out the pantograph and turned out that the pantograph was just not worth it. And DZ just seems like a better ability, which is a bit upsetting for pantograph. But doesn't want to play Lilybad. Doesn't have enough events that you want to play all the time to play Onicom. So I imagine you could maybe cut an Onicom for a DZ or a Pantograph, but DZ just turns out to be really quite good. But that means no Madani. That's kind of sick. Ferment is really important. Couplations, nice tech, and multi-access. You're just setting up. Your breakers are really, really good, as much as some of them have limited uses. And of course, you have Simulchip, you have SMC, you're not on Muse. This is good. It has 3 stone chips, so it's really hard to die. You have a single no free lunch. It's very, very hard for you to die to this deck. And then, as long as the game goes long enough, you'll deep dive out. Some of the versions are running a Harmony Medtech AR to put in your important cards back in the deck. This one doesn't seem to want to. 45 cards. No console, such a power move. I mean, like, it's a hard thing to convince me that is correct, but I could kind of see it. Like, if you're considering Pantograph, Pantograph is just a card I always forget exists, which kind of tells you, unless you're playing a combo deck, I don't kind of get why you'd install this when DZ just does the same, it feels like, and gives you a bit more setup faster. But yeah, if you don't want to play Lilypad, which you do have a lot of programs, I'm not sure. I think Lily Pad makes a bit more sense with Madani though, because you can install clicklessly and have a 6 hand size, so that's cool. Online Mega City Americas is this weekend. Oh yeah, and also the Pittsburgh Mega Cities this weekend. So there's a lot of stuff going on this weekend. I like silly decks that aren't too combo heavy actually have a chance. I really like Lou, but no imp makes me sad. I used to play R plus Tag Storm. Oh, interesting. Okay. There's Lou decks that are still around. I do think that Imp is not Gourmand, but Gourmand can be better than Imp. Sometimes it's not. But it is a very powerful ability for sure. Ooh, I want to see what White Tank is up to here. Like that makes sense with Madani. I don't think that's quite right. Oh, test name. How many people have said Madani when they meant to say Magdalene? That's it's me. I think that happened on Neon Static yesterday. Yeah, I think it makes more sense with Magdalene. So you get the install at the end of your turn with Maggie, Madani, Lilypad. Excuse me, good catch. The list is so optimized. My most successful Venus list so far is no console. Buffer Drive is my console. I like playing at least Keiko and Phoenix because it feels like it's enough money. I think, Emily, there's a chance that if you want to play Anarch Aggression, you can find a Phoenix deck. They all play relatively similar. I think Seb is the sort of deck you need a lot of reps in, but Phoenix, if you just draw your Banhar, it's like a fun deck to send it. I don't believe that -1 DZ +1 Panto is ever wrong. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I haven't played enough Panto to know like how often it fires and whether you have to like keep cards in hand to make Panto make sense for you. I can imagine that in my opening hand, I'd rather have a DZ than a Panto though. I just don't know if I'd install the third DZ though. That's the issue. It's like the DZs at some point scale out of the game. With the ID ability, you may have 2 different consoles installed be good. Good old Johnny 2 consoles. That has been like one of the most common Netrunner creator custom card idea. Would it be good? Depends on which faction. My guess, if 2 of the consoles work together in a way that's gross, maybe. Like, is Virtuoso plus Hermes annoying? Probably. I can't believe Virtuoso is the first thing it came up with. I don't know. With Shaper, I don't think it would be that big of a deal. With Anarch, it doesn't feel like it would be that big of a deal. Unless you want to just get hand size up and have a toolbox. But I think Criminal is the one that would make sense. Because that also means for Criminal, you can have more MU. And that's important. Because Criminal doesn't have a lot of MU. Middle. I think the Criminal ID boxes are good. I can't tell. Madani Lilypad would be pretty wild. Actually, you're right. That would be pretty good. Oh, that would be very good. Yeah, no, that'd be pretty good. Johnny 2 consoles is banned bait for design space reasons. Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's the sort of thing that if it exists, it really restricts design space on consoles forever. Ma Hermes would be interesting. I think you can do worse than that. Penny Shaver Masterwork. Yeah, that'd be good. But the problem is like you're not Sable. So like that engine, you're basically replacing your ID text box with Penny Shaver. What this idea is basically saying is your ID text box is one of your consoles. Which like maybe that's fine. I don't know. Penny Shaver Hermes would be nice. Yeah, it's meta dependent. Xnet, how's it going by the way? So I should be the next neutral Highlander runner. I don't know if we're gonna get more of those. Are there any decks that run Bite? I love playing to score out, but constantly threatening surprise damage. We can check, Emily. My guess is that Bite is really bad right now because one of the defining features of most runner decks is their inability to die. So spending 4 credits on a Bite seems pretty rough in the Year of Our Lord. So some people run a single Bite in like these sort of alco lists. I think those have largely been optimized out of the space, unless you play an alco list that's like more, I don't know, trap heavy, like mitosis and stuff like that. But currently, like one of the big things about the meta is almost every deck is running multiple card slots just to not die. So it's hard to make a Bite feel like it makes sense. Is it sad? Yeah, maybe. And people probably are overteching to kill to some extent, which means non-kill decks are doing well. But no, Bite feels less relevant than it's been in a while time. If the master gamer couldn't use 2 consoles, no one can. AC Beast, what's up, Andre? I didn't get a chance to watch streams last week, but I saw that you and I both won events on the same day with the same IDs. Oh, nice. Hope you're doing good. I'm doing well. I guess you're playing some Zwicky too. Congratulations. I had a lot of fun with Zwicky. I'm definitely going to be recording some gameplay on the channel. It's been a bit of a busy weekend for sure. Alco Mitosis sounds miserable but building, and now hey, Lady Duckland. I know one of my locals was playing it as like their first deck, and it's not awful. I argue like maybe PT Unchen does it, but the big thing that like you do with the Alco is that your traps, your damage cards just push you forward and draw you more cards. Mitosis is card hungry. So the idea that you can Alco to set up a Mitosis and 2 cards in your hand like feels kind of good. And if they run it and it's a trap, well, you get card draw. If they don't run it, hopefully you can win the game in other ways. I could see it making sense. I'm pretty sure it's not the tier 1 first order optimal Alco, and I'm hoping it's not. But like Alco is actually like a very flexible shell. Whether you want to argue that the same like 15 card core shows up in every Alco list, which is like cohorts, Bladderwort, Fut, that's probably true. Whether you want to put hostiles in there, maybe you don't in the mitosis list, and then maybe you play like Cerebral Overrider. I could see that making sense. Shell. But yeah, I think you can give it a shot. I just think it's going to be very much a JNet casual deck where people are going to face check into everything and you're going to get no meaningful data from it. There's a chance of the best mitosis decks right now are in NBN because of the context of the game. All right, I wanted to look at this as well. This is the Honest Iswak. This is all surrounded by Canadian Leafs. Thanks, Wenjong. The Maple Leaf. Netrunner is a great gameplay that makes you happy. Pro tip, playing with friends makes you extra happy. Very cute. So something of the meta when I was evaluating adjusting my beloved vegan Iswak list post-elevation. Runners rich, some cooks, some runs, some befriends. Runners ignore subroutines, so Banhar Botchless Boomerang. Runners got limited but effective answers to Big Ice, Propeller, Revolver. And Runner wins upon inevitability like Deep Dive. So the solution we're looking for, and roughly in sequence of the above, play way more money core than the pre-elevation. So this deck just has a lot of money in it. And I do think that's what I've noticed as well from people brewing like mid-range Glacier decks, is that they're ending in spots where they're realizing like Regolith is just still really good. Emptying a Regolith is one of the biggest things you can do to get over your early game problems. This game without Rashida, it feels like if you stall out in the early game, you really do fundamentally stall out. So having a lot of value on a single card that will give you the money to res all your Ice on Centrals seems very important. It's hard in Jinteki, it's hard in HB, it's hard everywhere to be able to res everything. So getting down a Regolith and emptying it is really important. And then you also see stuff like this, so like Predicted Planogram is sneaking into decks just because of its flexibility. For one influence, draw 3 cards is just kind of right a lot of the times, and then getting 3 credits down from 0 is also very, very important. I'm not saying I'm excited about this because it does seem kind of boring, but like these 2 cards I am seeing more and more. Not that Regolith is not a particular surprise, but these cards are showing up more and more in mid-range Glacier decks that I'm building almost all the time. And Simulation Reset, which that's fine. Not gonna lie, Baz being bad in the meta is depressing. Flipping around with Windows Opportunity feels so good when it goes off. Lamb, we're gonna be trying to build a Baz deck, or we're gonna be playing a Baz deck today, let's say at a minimum. I do think Baz does not feel good in the meta right now because there's not a lot of ice base. The consistency of your opponent being on an ice as part of their main strategy is like not a thing I would count on. Just have fun playing Glacier and then just lose the late game. Generally, you lose the early game. You lose the mid game. The late game, I think you have some good outs, especially with Anoetic Void and stuff like that. Play Mavirus. This list on one Mavirus. Mavirus has totally fallen out of the meta. Shout out to the whites, to the Fly Swatters. Oh no, Wenjong. But Mavirus is really good, especially if you don't spend influence on it, because a lot of econ is based off of Fermenter, especially against Shaper. So purging in the right time is like game winning. Play Ice with no subtext, like Samak Sumun. Non-subtext, yeah. Samak is really good, like Samak. Plays Ice, inciting Banhar's defections, can't choose to end the run. It's really nice. Defensive upgrades I think are really good right now. There are still a lot of decks that are on pinhole threadings, but Void is really quite good. I do think defensive upgrades is good against Seb. Anybody who struggles to rerun because of things like Banhar and Botchless dependence, or even Audrey, these are really good, and Void is just very good. Playing 3 Void makes sense. Lower agenda density, we're at 1 and 7. This is something I've also seen with the Leo decks. They're just trying to play as few agendas as possible because those agendas are bad. Big thing with Iswak too is if you only run 3-pointers, you can score at 2 agendas and win the game, and that's what this deck is trying to do. For those who haven't played the game for over a decade, we used to have this identity back in the day, which I don't think actually did anything on the competitive side, but basically we're playing Harmony Medtech. This just says each player needs 1 fewer agenda point to win the game. Now, the difference with each player is that it's not true because your opponent still needs to steal 7 of your agendas, or sorry, 7 points of your agendas, so 3 of your 3-pointers, but you functionally win on 6, and you do have all your influence as much as if you play a bigger deck. So that's kind of what this Iswak deck is, at least from the distance, it seems. And we have Seamless Launch, we have Lacosta. Those are all the tricks we need. I know that every set, the new cards come out and people are like, oh, is this an Iswak card? And it's like a 3-card combo. But at the end of the day, Lacosta is just the GOAT. Seamless Launch is just the GOAT. This deck is on, actually, oh no, it's not even on. I thought it was, I know that I saw Wenjong play earlier versions that were on Vulnerability Audit. So this actually has a 2-pointer in it, which is interesting. I'm not sure what the argument here is, whether the influence is better spent not playing the Vulnerability Audit, but this often doesn't help you that much, I don't think. Yeah, this can't really help you besides this text. It's really, really weird. I thought this was a Vulnerability Audit, which I'm glad to see not in the deck because I don't like that card. Baz Safecracker Penumbral, that's the one. That's the one, Eric. Thoughts on Baz? I've never played it. I'm assuming it's not very good in the meta, but I'm excited to play it today after we get through this deck dive. The only ID where you could get a non-timed draw. Yeah, it is actually possible in Harmony Medtech. So this is the weird interaction. There used to be this thing called currents, which they weren't great, but you could have a current that says The corporation's text box is blank. Wait, how does this work? What is the interaction? So the corp's identity text box is blank. That means people win on 7. So in theory, if the runner's on 6 points, so say the runner's on 6 points and there's already a current on the table. So the runner's on 6 points and they've played, where did I move my card? And they played an employee strike, right? Okay, I don't know. That's not working. So the runner's on 6 points, but an employee strike's on the table. So they don't win the game, because when they win the game, they can't, because they win on 7 because they turned this text off. Then the corporation is on 3 points, scores an agenda. So the corporation is now on 6 points and the runner's on 6 points. However, when an agenda is scored, the runner's current is dispelled. And so as soon as the current is dispelled, both players are on 6 points and this text is now active again. This means both players win the game. It is a non-timed draw. It can't happen a lot. This is one of the few ways that could happen. I don't think I've ever seen it. It's more like an academic thing than an actual thing. But in theory, if the runner plays an employee strike into a medtech, which is like not a good thing. Well, actually, no, it's not the worst thing to do. If you think the corp is going to win next turn, you should play the employee strike so they have to score at a 3rd agenda. Currents aren't that bad. Yeah, sure, whatever. Currents weren't great. Gets today's understatement of the day award. Just score agendas. Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. But yeah, I don't like currents. You need turntable too? I think you can do it with turntable as well. I think turntable was another way, Rahit. You might be right. Maybe this is more of a reasonable line. Is if you have a turntable, when you score an agenda, you may swap agendas between score areas. So if the corporation has, I think you have to interact with like a global food, or maybe not. But basically you can shift yourself to 6 and your opponent to 6. I think you need to interact with something like merger or global food, something that's worth a different amount of points in each player's score area. So if you take a merger away from them, it becomes a 3-point in yours. And if you trade it with a 2-point, a 3-point on your side or something, I don't know how you do this, but it might actually make sense. But yeah, I do know that employee striking can happen. It's a weird rules thing and it's really goofy. I think there's actually a bunch of like real weird rules things in modern Netrunner that I don't know how they are solved. I know I get pings every once in a while where the rules team still isn't sure how to resolve like mid HQ bounce accesses with some of the modern cards that I'm just really happy I haven't seen the interaction so far. But there's a couple interactions that there's like one card that's making HQ accesses problematic that requires you to use die outside of Heliemperor. And I don't know if people know what I'm talking about because I don't fully do. I'd have a hard think about quitting the game if they brought currents back. I wouldn't go that far. I'm assuming if they brought currents back, they would be a bit more. This is not a good example, but I think they'd be a bit more reasonable, if anything. But yeah, I don't think they would. I think currents are just kind of bad. Yeah, trading a merger for GFI, that would work. Not Maw Turdock, but like in modern Netrunner. Like there's something in the modern card pool, even from Elevation, that I think causes some real weird rules interactions that people are not totally savvy on how they should resolve. Anyways, that's this list. And it's just kind of like reg ass Glacier that wants to score 2 agendas instead of 3. And that actually is worth something. That is the frustrating thing with Iswak that never makes me want to be playing Iswak, is that its ability either fires once and it matters or fires never and it doesn't matter. You can always argue that it matters on the other side of the table where your opponent has to play differently because they think you're going to do something and then suddenly you're aggressive. When we did play Iswak on the channel, and I'm imagining we'll have to play it next week, we were always surprised how quickly we went from, oh, we're losing to, oh, we're on game point. And that's just kind of the Iswak thing, where like you can score an agenda with Seamless and then install the next agenda. And if you have a Seamless in hand and, you know, Lacosta, like you can just win in 2 turns. Like you actually can close the game really quickly with Seamless and Lacosta. So that was kind of cool. Excuse me. Deck looks fine. Looks cool. I'd play it. Does have some of the like, you know, stodgy Glacier kind of staples of like load-bearing Regolith. If you get your Charlotte cooking, that's pretty good. The ice is good. We're not playing Botu, we're on Bran. Bran's really good right now. Simon's great. Tattoo Bull's great. Just some 2 Vampies. We're not playing any Fly Swatters. I like Fly Swatter a lot. Single Cloud Eater, which does work with the Predict the Planogram as much as great. I guess play around that. And then we have Empiricist, which I'm surprised to see. I think this card is a bit too expensive for what it does. So I'm interested to see where this goes, if it actually does end up on the remote server. I do think actually Vampire Nasa makes some amount of sense on the remote server, because running through a Vampire Nasa is not sustainable when there's an Anoetic Void behind it, because it gives the corporation everything they need to fire Anoetic Void over and over and over again. It's like a really interesting interaction. And then people just lose games to Saisentan. I'd be really interested to know if any games were won or lost by Saisentan, but from my experience playing Jiteki Glacier, people still just face check into Saisentan and lose the game sometimes. I appreciate the comment, needing only 2 scoring windows is important. Yeah, it is very important. Only need 2 scoring windows. That's actually like kind of a big deal. It's sometimes hard to find 3 scoring windows in a game of Netrunner. Finding 2, it's a lot easier than 3. How's it going, by the way, Changeling? Oh, Poetry multi-access on HQ is kind of there. That's a bad one, yeah. I recently removed all currents from the physical cube. Yeah, that's fine. Hey, Floating, only played with currents a little bit, but lockdowns feel like more out or more balanced versions. That's 100% what they're meant to be. They're meant to be more balanced versions of currents. And speaking of currents, this is CTZ's Pregnant Pause, Full Pregante. It's an end of line Nebula deck. So this is the sort of deck that I know it's pretty gross. The idea that if you don't run at any point, and this deck is on only 2 petty cash, which I do think CDC has to like apologize his way out of a bit at the end of the recap, is that this card, if you just play it from your bin, you gain a click and you gain 2 credits, which means if they don't run on turn 1, you can just score out a false lead. That's really gross. Getting a false lead scored kind of messes up the game. If you don't run and they get 2 false lead scores, the game is almost entirely cooked unless you're heavily teched, because at any point in time, if they steal an agenda, as soon as you're on threat 3, they can take 7 tags, or sorry, you pay 7 to give them 4 tags, and then you just take their turn away. And if you take their turn away, it's very unlikely that they don't die to some combinations of end the lines and of course touch-ups. I think the earlier versions of this deck, the ones that I saw Brandon play, they were on 2 touch-ups, 2 end lines, I think he was on. So this is a bit different. The slots are a bit different. This deck is on sync rerouting, which is like kind of cool. The idea is that when you play this, it's played in an event or an operation, excuse me. So that flips your ability. But then if the runner wants to make any run, they either have to take a tag or 4 credits, which is really good at protecting your ability. This is the sort of like Nebula gameplay that I think is pretty awful, and I really don't like this. Ice Up Centrals never build a remote server, play sync rerouting. Literally the worst. I can't. God, it gets me bad. But yeah, that's the game plan. The ice is incredibly frustrating. I like how the ice has changed. We're not on any barriers anymore, and ping actually does make sense. In closed deck lists, you have to play around ping when playing into false lead. Like generally, you don't want to be running on the second click anyways, in case you hit the tomorrow's headline, or if they're playing Bite or Oracle Think Tank, or not Bite, but Behold. But yeah, you do have to play around ping, but like a lot of decks can't afford to go through Funhouse on centrals every turn. It's just too expensive. Mess and Chesso is just a gross ice. It's really hard to deal with. You do need an advanceable card on the table for a lot of instances because of touch-ups, that's for sure. VSA is good too. If you have a lot of people cheating around this, face checking with Banhar or Boomerangs or Botulises, VSA is pretty good. Forcing them to find their buzzsaw on the Anarch list is difficult. And then you have Starlit Knight, which is a sentry you can play. People play Sarievna on this list. This makes it difficult. It's a bad face check. It's a really bad face check taking 2 tags, that's for sure. As much as 5 is a lot. So seeing what ends up in the slot, whether it's like Tithe or whether it's I've seen a lot more Unsmiling Sarievna, but Starlight's pretty good. False lead, it's cursed. Yeah, well, it's a mixture of 2 things. It's like the Venn diagram of false lead being mega cursed, and then also like never build a remote server fast advance being cursed, and then having a deck that combines both of them. It's like straight up the worst Netrunner. I think it's awful. Anywho, that's this list. We've seen versions like this. We're going to continue seeing it iterated. I think CTZ did well at the event. And this is a pretty mean list for sure. I think we got to see the DAO list on the channel, and CTZ has a pretty wild deep dive list as well. But it's like, yeah, they're combo lists. I want to kind of, I don't want to say avoid interaction, but you know what I mean? It's like, it's very strange. It's going to make people upset for sure. Hope we don't ban Nebula. False lead can go. It's like, I don't know about that. I think false lead can go has been like a thing for a long time coming. I've just seen some of the worst gameplay and the worst tables because of the existence of false lead, where it's like, oh, your opponent has 2 false leads scored, so you're playing against Thule. If you don't win in a single turn, you can't win. And so people are just basically taking turns where they don't run because they can't run, because if they steal an agenda, they are going to get Oppo research, then the game is over. It's just the worst. There's no counterplay to it in a world where Oppo research cannot be beat by credits. It's like one of the cool things about hard-hitting news back in the day, launch Boomer Tangent, is that even if false leads were scored and somebody tried to give you 4 tags, you could beat it with money. And now Oppo research cannot be beat with money, which means false lead will just ensure that you have the tags, and that just sucks. I think that's something that probably should be ironed out. It's pretty miserable. It's an interesting card. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a cool card, and it's an agenda that has utility and has like changes runs on certain turns. Like, there's some cool stuff here, but it is kind of cursed, that's for sure. But I do think at the end of the day, having an identity that doesn't want to build a remote server, oh, it's also kind of neat. Oh no, this is the front side of Nebula. I thought it was the back for a second. But I just don't like it. You don't run on turn 1, they spend a credit to score an agenda from hand. It's like, come on, that can't be it. That can't be it. False lead is never healthy. There's no good use case for it in a million evil ones. Well, I think there was, so false lead has, it's a card that you remember exists unless it's busted. But like Jemison enjoyers really liked it because it was a way to do Jemison tricks, and like this doesn't exist in the format anymore. So you wanted a forfeit ability. But just about any deck that showed in, it's been poisonous. But like I also do kind of say like it's important that we want to score our agendas, and our agendas are part of our game plan. And then this is like, you know, part of it that apparently is a bridge too far for me. It's weird. This card keeps getting printed. Like it shows up in so many things that I don't know why. It has never been in a deck where people have been like, oh boy, that's good Netrunner. It's always been like, oh, that's miserable. It's weird. It's really weird. It has a really good alt art though, for like national season 2015, 2016. What I don't get in the write-up, CTZ said he's mostly scored, but does that mean he's fast events 4 agendas or just IA? That's actually a really big thing about this deck. And I thought when I played against versions of decks like this, did I close it? I think I might have. So I played against a list like this at the GNK or CTK, I think a GNK like 2 weekends ago, is that I don't think it can score out. And I didn't know that they could score out. They actually can score out points, because this deck is trading a lot of its ability to score out by just playing, you know, embedded reporting tomorrow's headline. And so a lot of times when the false lead is scored, you don't want to interact. That's where you sit back. They have 2 false leads. You just have to build your twinning. You have to wait for them to flood up, and then you're meant to win in a single turn or make them spend enough money they can't do their combo, which is also very difficult. So CDZ is scoring out a lot, and that's because their opponent, I think, understands the combo. And so using the only 2 petty caches, which is difficult, you're scoring out from hand. You're going to put them, you can't really put them back into your deck because you remove them from the game. But I think either that means that CDZ is putting cards on the table and saying if you run them, you'll be oppoed. If you don't run them, I'll score them out. I've seen versions of this that play Vladislavsk City Grid and put that on the table and say I can score out on top of the Vlad Grid, or you have to trash the Vlad Grid and get oppoed. I think that's an interesting fork as well. Yeah, you can fast advance out with touch-ups. That's a really important thing, is that touch-ups fast advance 3/2s if Nebula is flipped. You can also do some wild things if you have petty caches, and no, it doesn't really work. But with sudden commandment, you would need another click gainer. So I don't think we have anything that can do it, because the versions that play sudden commandments and nano management, they can fast advance out 5/3s from hand. It's like really, really wild. But why this deck is fast advancing out, my guess is because people don't want to run, because a false lead is scored, let alone 2 false leads are scored, and an oppo research is on the table, and this is what the ice looks like. But yeah, touch-ups does fast advance, super importantly, and gets cards out of the hand, which is also very annoying. Yep. It's pretty wild that we got a handful of FFG reprints in the format, and one of those absolutely cursed agenda. It's weird, Dave. I think actually a lot of the reprints are like somewhat cursed. These are the Ashes cards, right? Like I think there's a lot of people that would want Cerebral Overrider to be out of the format. It's been around since 2013, 2012, and it just like... the trap is, this is too powerful for a trap. I hate it. I really don't like this card. Not my favorite Netrunner, but running into this and then taking 2 core damage and then dying to a single measured or like a single end of line and NBN trap stack, like not my favorite. It's just cursed. It's been around forever. Don't know why. False lead also been around forever. Don't know why. It's kind of cursed. And then there's other ones that I don't feel as strongly about, but there's been a lot of people that for a long time have said like self-modifying code should probably go to pasture. It's been around for a long time. It's defining the Shaper playstyle, and this has also been around since 2013. Why is it still around? Can we print a new SMC? Is Muse the new SMC? I don't know. For what it's worth, I'm more fond of SMC because I commissioned an alt art, and it's at some points have been a very unhealthy card for sure, but it doesn't feel like that's the case now. But a lot of the weird cards that are reprinted are like kind of cursed. And then we have like Colossus, which like I now know how to spell Colossus consistently. That's good. Shout out to the original Colossus art, which is like goes pretty hard. I like this art a lot. It does well to make this thing look tall. Hey, Bouch, how you doing? Good evening, friends. How much did I miss? Not too much. We're just talking about some write-up stuff. Clockwork Spider. Wait, are you Spider Bro? Are you the Maker's Eye Spider? Or that's a different spider? Muse plus Madani fill SMC's niches. They do in some decks, but not all decks. Like Wenjong's list is playing SMC. It's not playing Muse. I think if Shapers are forced to go to Muse, they'll find a way, but it's definitely much more clumsy for sure. But yeah, these cards have just been around for better for worse forever. I don't know if that's gonna be the case. And then there's one more card in this set. What's the 5th reprint out of Ashes? I'm not famous in any form so far. Also, Colossus is there. Cerebral was from a time when you had more ability to credit deny and also expose and more waste and mitigate advanced cards. Yes, I do think that is totally true. Is that I've run into Cerebral Overriders after I bankrupt the corporation. They can't do anything with it. Oh yeah, Daily Cast, which is banned. Which like, I'm kind of glad they banned this. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't think we need to play with Daily Cast for 15 years. It does exactly what it did on day one, as it does. Again, this came out in 2013. The card doesn't need to be in the format for 12 years. So anyways, I'm totally fine with the ban of this, as much as it was cited for balance reasons. My foiled Montreal SMC makes me so happy when I play it. Yeah, me too, Cody. Glad to hear that. But like that is the downside of printing commissioning a nice alt. Shout out to Cat. Is yeah, I don't want the card banned. It's also common to have core damage prevention in old Netrunner. Yeah, that is true. We did have core damage prevention. Sure Gamble gone when? Okay, I wouldn't go that far. I think we could have that forever. This has been around since 1996. It's fine. It's okay. I've not truly missed Daily Cast, to be honest. No, not really. It's kind of amazing that Daily Cast was banned and runners still have a bunch of money. Yeah, I think, Ryan, they have to work a bit harder for it, which is cool. Like, open market is not Daily Casts, as much as it is still a very good card. But I do think it forces people out of neutral economy, which makes the decks at least feel a bit different. Like, I think it was a success for sure. Whether runners still have to have some work versus corporations in terms of balance, yeah, of course, testing we'll find out. But no one actually ran core damage prevention. No one did, but in the like 2012 meta, we did have a couple cards. Like that set came with not feedback filter, but the other one. There was ways to deal with it. Oh no, feedback filter also dealt with it. I do think there were metas where core damage cards actually did show up. But they were very targeted metas where you actually did play a core damage card sometimes. Like Caldera prevents core damage. Yikes. Yeah, there were some metas where core damage prevention was actually like a meta concern that you played. But they were normally for like combo decks. But it was not like a big thing. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to my casuals, I'm going to play a core damage prevention card. Unless you were like had some weirdos in your meta and you really need to stop dying to their cerebral overriders. I mean weirdo tone neutral. There's also hand size cards in the current meta. Yeah, but they're bad. They're really, really bad. Like, this is actually like a weird hill to die on. It's like a lot of times people say like, oh, there's this problem. You have this solution. But when the solution is so bad that it puts you away. Oh, I realize why my face looks like this. Hold on. These lights are the wrong way. This is going to look different to nobody but me. Nice, warmer. But like, I don't want to have to put, you know, oh, so you don't lose to the meta. It's like Plascrete again, right? You used to have to put 1 or 2 Plascretes in your deck just so you didn't lose to a certain matchup that wasn't the majority of the field. But if you didn't play the Plascrete, you lost 100% of the time, 80% of the time. I don't think that makes a good game. To be like, you have to play this like clunky bad card you're not excited about just so you don't lose to a matchup, right? You could say that there's a thin line there where Stone Chip Chart Room is maybe a bit too good because in the matchups where it isn't a brick, it still feels really good and it's a flexible card. So you need to find somewhere in the middle where people are okay with the tech they're playing, but there's a cost associated with it, but it's not just like, oh, play this, take your medicine. T400 isn't even good in startup, but I've seen that. Like I was watching Kikai play and trying to get a Seb deck to not die to the touch-ups and the line combo is actually pretty difficult because Seb's influence is all spoken for. And so the only natural way to give Seb 6 hand size to not die to the touch-ups and the line combo is to play T400 Memory Diamond. And I saw Kikai trying that. I don't know whether that was agreed to be the right thing you can do, but like that's neat. But that's because that deck doesn't have influence to play No Free Lunch or to play Stone Chip without having a heavy impact on the other 15 influence, whereas like all of the transfer of welts, a buffer drive, and an ashen. Like that's really, really difficult. Cerebral isn't quite a C Scorch, but mostly I'm just bored of it. Yeah, that's actually a big thing too. Is like, again, it's just been around for a long time. We used the SMC for a while last meta. It was wild to me that we're totally back to overclock 3 SMCs. Yeah, it's kind of strange. Oh, I'm way behind on this chat. What I wanted to ask you, Andre, do you happen to know about the Netrunner reboot project of the big boy? Kind of like fun, different approach than NSG. I know what it is. I don't really interact with it for a couple reasons. Firstly, I don't have a reason to. You'll find out in a lot of spaces, and I want to be very clear that I'm trying to take a neutral opinion on this because I don't know enough. But I've heard from a lot of people that I trust that generally the big boy is perceived to be a kind of like a persona non grata in a lot of community spaces. And for that reason, a lot of people treat this side of the game or the reboot as not being a place that they want to interact with. Game might be fine. I don't know. I don't keep track of it, but that's all I can say. It's not a comfortable thing to bring up because I don't know much. I don't want to dig into it, and I have no interest really pulling it up, but I'll leave it with that, as much as that makes me very, very uncomfortable. For some reason, it feels worse in Netrunner for the solution to probably be play this card compared to having a problem in other card games. Yeah, weird how it is. Shout out to the Liza decks without paparazzi, sometimes just exploding to an HPT. Yeah, but you knew going into the tournament, that's what you're going to be doing. As a newer player, I think SMC feels really tied to the identity of a shaper in a nice way, but Cerebral Overrider just not spark joy at all. A lot of people, Cerebral Overrider is their favorite card. And that's because it just feels like it's the trap that has the highest stakes. And so that is sometimes a hard thing to challenge. It is the trap with the highest stakes attached to it. Yeah. And a lot of people like that. Mitosis giggle, right? Like, it's a game, I guess. All right, let's play some Netrunner. There's a list that I want to pull up. And this is something RL put together. And so this is a Baz list that is running Penumbral Toolkit. And I want to give it a shot because it's a Baz list that interacts on Baz stuff and really cares about the hardware, or sorry, the resource install and what is it? Resource and hardware. Yeah, okay. And our engine is based off of that. This is a stealth list. There's no longer exposed in the standard card pool. No, the best exposed you have is Pinhole, from my understanding. I don't think there's any hard exposed in the card pool. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's no hard exposed in the card pool. X expose says standard. Yeah, nothing. So the idea with Baz is whenever we run into ice, if the ice gets res, we can install something from our hand. And that's a really strong ability as long as you can fire it, which has been a bit of an issue in a lot of the format, is that not all the decks have all the ice that they want to res. That means if they don't res, that can be a problem for you, that's for sure. And so this seems like a bit of an ambitious list, but it's very much building into the Baz engine, which is kind of cool. Firstly, Chesva, I'm surprised not to see 3 of. Chesva is just a really nice card because you can use these credits during runs on central servers, which means if they res ice during central servers, you can install cards from your hand for free. And that's really cool. That offloads the cost of installing cards and it just gives you that tempo click. Of course, with Baz, you can install a boomerang while running into the ice. That's always really nice. You can install a flip switch to jack out. But on top of that, you can also just like get tempo. The idea is that if I run to your remote server and you res your, I don't know, your tree line, and then I install a class act, like that's a really good. That is saving a click. It also forces your credits so you can get this kind of swings. And that's kind of neat. So just being aggressive is a nice place to be in for sure. We have icebreakers. We're a stealth list, and that's really interesting. A lot of the stealth is attached to hardware and resources rates now, and we'll see that. After image is not a bad icebreaker. 2 strength is like not the best to be. There's a lot of 3 strength sentries that are pretty relevant to the meta, but this thing for 2 stealth credits can bypass any once per turn, any encountered sentry. Otherwise, it breaks 1 for 2 sentry subroutines, which can be a normal credit, but to increase its strength, you need 1 stealth credit. If you don't know what stealth credits are, those are things that come from cards that are specifically typed stealth. Stealth credits don't have any other inherent rules. You can use them as normal credits, but there's a lot of cards that if they have stealth credits, either do something more elegantly or do something at all that require stealth credits. This again has been a mechanic that's been around since 2013 in the same set that self-modifying code and daily cast and cerebral overrider came in. And we haven't seen stealth support all the way since the Ashes cycle, I want to say somewhat confidently. So it's something I imagine we'll see again in the future. Noisy and quiet credits have existed all the way back in 1996. I think they were called stealth. Maybe they were just called quiet. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's a thing. Kurapir, it's fine. Shibboleth is fine. I'm falling a bit less in love with Shibboleth the more I play it. It's really good in the early game, and having enough Chesvas deals with it, but we'll see if this is a downside, because having a 1 strength code gate is pretty bad. A lot of the code gates you're seeing in the modern meta come in at 4 strength. It feels like 3 to 4 strength is super, super common, specifically 4 strength, where you have things like MIC, Messna Chesfo, there's definitely a couple other ones, NPOT. Ooh, I don't think there's a Vampire Nasa. I don't think there's a lot of code gates I'm worried about in Wayland at this point. But anyways, 4 strength gets really bad really quickly. So having the double boost on this sucks. We have a single Azimuth, which it's fine. It's good. If you're not doing anything because your ability sucks, at least we won't hard lose to assets, hopefully. And then we have 2 Chesvas. Hey, Cranked, how's the weekend? How's it going? I don't think Expose itself was a good besides Amakua, but it was the only safe way for newer players to interact with traps. I think it's not horrible as a mechanic, but a meta irrelevant, but exists in the game for casual players. Why was Expose ever good aside from Amakua? So Expose existed in the original core set. And the idea was this game was meant to be about information. So if somebody says install advance, you didn't know if it was a trap or an agenda. And Expose was meant to be a way to make you more comfortable about running. This is a card from the core set. It was never particularly good. I do think it showed up in a World's Winning deck once, but it's not a great card. As the game matured, and I actually think for context, 1996's Netrunner had a lot more expose. There was a lot of runner cards that could expose ice. There was cards that said expose like 3 cards, expose 5 cards. Expose and finding out what information was more important in 1996, and it didn't translate really well back to Netrunner. We've had some gross exposed decks. There's actually a couple cards in the game that were banned because exposed combos were too powerful. So GPI net tap says whenever you approach a piece of ice, you may expose it. You may then trash GPI net tap to jack out. And then there was cards that said whenever you expose, gain credits, because we had Zamba, and so you had engines because GPI net tap that wasn't it was not unique, that you could get down 3 GPI net taps, run into an ice, expose it, they wouldn't res it, you'd gain 3 credits if you had all of these down. There's actually parts of the ban list that had to address that GPI net tap Zamba combo. Works with Amakua, works with a lot of other stuff. Yeah, Expose was never particularly healthy. It basically just won against trap decks. I think the game is more fun if you don't know what you're running into. I remember Bayokin putting out a video at one point saying like, I actually don't like 419 because I feel like Expose kind of removes a key part of what makes this game magical, which is, you know, fuzzy information, not knowing what's on the table. And if we expose what every card is, this game becomes a lot less magical. And I think there's some truth to that. So it's interesting to see whether we'll see targeted expose. We saw some really niche and weird expose cards. We've seen some cool expose cards too. So what was the one that falsified credentials? This is a really cool expose card. Name a card type, expose a card on a remote server, then if you're right, functionally gain a sure gamble. Like, that's fun. It's high stakes. It incentivizes player skill, which is kind of cool. People played around this by pre-resing stuff, so it's not all lost, but like just generic card that says expose 2 cards, expose 3 cards, like Borrowed Satellite, or what's the one that has Leela on it talking to Satellite Uplink? Like, we saw some cards, like this is a very 1996 card where paying 2 to expose 2 cards was kind of on curve for sealed 1996 ONR. Samba Combo Zombo. Anyways, Amakua was the best exposed card, that's for sure. And without Amakua, expose is just information. And sometimes information matters, especially when it comes to assets. Knowing what to run is a huge part of the value trade on assets. Put it on the table, you have to run it. Shout out to Embezzle for the called shot plays. I mean, I guess Embezzle went out the way that it came in. Everyone's like, shouldn't I? No, not often, but fine. Hey, SRN, how you doing? Overuse of Expose is pretty rough, but a few pieces like Falsified Credentials is cool. Yeah, Falsified was a cool card, that's for sure. I like cards like that. Called shots are fun in the game. Sports Hopper is a good in the middle card. Flip, yeah, Sports Hopper is a really cool design for Don't Die, but has like, not only isn't Don't Die, but you can force it out, which is really, really cool. It feels worse in Netrunner. I read that, sorry. Noisy breakers were somewhat efficient icebreakers that would turn off using stealth breakers for the rest of the turn. Yeah, and Solomir, there was also cards on the corporation side that if you used a noisy breaker, they could res the ice for functionally free. So a card would say like the res cost of this is reduced by 5 if a noisy icebreaker was used during this run. I don't know how that meta implication showed up in the game, but there was noisy 8 stealth credits, and there was also corp cards that basically got better because they could hear you coming. The 1996 credits were also had opposing effects. Yeah, noisy. Jeremiah, how's it going? Embezzle sick? Oh, I wouldn't go that far. Burner could never. I used to love Queen's Gambit, which suddenly became Wild with Expose. Queen's Gambit also did win Worlds. They reprinted Queen's Gambit, making it cost 3 credits for some reason. It was an accident, obviously. But this card did win Worlds at some point, and it was just like having a 0 cost card that could give you 6 credits. Sometimes was the right thing to do. And as another called shot card, that's pretty interesting. Would love to see a near print at False Cred. Yeah, I'd be okay with it. I think it's kind of cool. Anyways, back to this, our event's very low. I think this is the hardest thing for me to get over with the Baz deck, is that criminals right now have some of the best events in the game, right? Like this set printed Transfer of Wealth, it printed Clean Getaway, and we're not playing any of those cards. We're not playing Bravado. All we're playing is 2 copies of Lilo for some card draw. We're playing 2 copies of Mutual Favor because we only have 1 of each breakers, and we're playing 3 sure gambles. This is the hardest part of why building a Baz deck feels so difficult. Is most of the Baz decks that I've seen are still like 80% good stuff runners, and then they play slightly more hardware, or they play a bit of a D-res package, because D-res makes a lot of sense, because if the ice is resed, Baz doesn't do anything. But this list is saying like, no, hold my beer, we're a full Baz deck, so we're building into it for sure. Yeah, no Bravado, no Clean Getaway. I'm kind of stunned by that. I'm assuming that this engine makes up for it. This might not be the best deck, but it's a cool thing that I'm excited to try. Otherwise, we have a single alarm clock, which is fine. It's hardware, I guess. 3 boomerangs. I think you expect that in every Baz deck, the same way you expect it in every Az deck. The fact that the Australian character throws boomerangs, don't know how to feel about that, but okay. We have a single Game Dragon. This lines up okay with some of our breakers. It means that After Image will become 3 strength, which means that you spend 1 credit non-stealth if you need to get through drafters, which is kind of cool. Against Kurapira, it's fine. Against Wayland, that stacks barriers. Against Shibboleth, if they stack 2 code gates, that's also okay for you. We're on Triple Hermes, so we can run a bit. We're on Wake Implant for some multi-access, and we have the Twinning as well. And we have a lot of recurring credits, as most hardware decks do. And then we have a Moo Safecracker. This card's bad. This card is classically quite bad. I think Fire RL is saying like, give it a shot for sure. You can only spend stealth credits, and either we can spend 1 stealth credit to access an additional card from HQ, or 2 stealth credits to access an additional card from R&D. This is at least an interesting design when it comes to the future of stealth cards, because almost all the stealth cards we've seen to date were icebreakers, and all the icebreakers just said, here is some better math if you have stealth credits, or they don't work if you don't have stealth credits. This is what I want the future of stealth to go towards, where it's like cool effects. Like I think expose is actually something that could be attached to stealth credits. Having some sort of card, hardware, or even an event that uses stealth credits to pay for it, to do some sort of ability that is a bit sneaky, that does reconnaissance. Like I think that's cool. And this is just not an ability where I felt like you really needed it ever. It does allow you to translate your stealth credits into accesses, which is kind of cool, but this is definitely the card that has real like trust me energy, because this does seem way worse than any of the other multi-access options you have that are not limited on stealth credits. Really awkward thing about Moose Safecracker is that this is one of the best stealth cards in the game. This gets a credit a turn, and you have to use the credits, and you can only use these credits for programs during run, and if your turn ends, you take a tag unless you use those credits. It shouldn't be hard to use these credits, but it's a very small thing that's stealth. It's just one of the subtypes here. You might think that's just flavor if you're new to the game, but that actually means that these are technically stealth credits. The biggest problem is used for programs, and this is not a program. Super cursed that these came out in the same set and they don't even work together. So the only way that we can use Move Safecracker in this deck at all, as much as there is a program you can spend for influence that allows you to use the credits during runs, let alone anyway, is that we need to use our penumbral toolkits. I'm going to look at this list to make sure I'm not missing anything, but I think the only way we can fire Move Safecracker is penumbral toolkit. Penumbral toolkit, you in theory want to install for free. You can do that with Baz, but after you run HQ, it comes down for cheaper, which makes it a sure gamble. And then you can use these credits for anything. Oh, sorry, only during runs, but anything during runs. Kind of weird, but we'll see how it works. We have 3 of them. We're also on the red team knickknack engine, which is good fun. We have open market, of course, to install these things cheaply, and we can send off the open market. We're on 2 side hustle because it's a job but we want to be running a lot. This seems very ambitious. We're on a single Bocklin, which is a fun card. You take the tag, which is a bit annoying, but you get a D-res a card, which means Baz will fire again. And yeah, it just gets counters the more you run and the more you use hardware. And it's sorry, this is not hardware. This is the back. This is if you just encounter piece of ice, which is pretty good. A zombie, that's a lot of resources. Let's hope we don't run into an all-seeing eye. I mean, can we run every turn against... This is like the biggest thing that's like really cramping my style when it comes to the modern meta. Can we run every turn against an Oppo Research Nebula? My guess is no. We have too many moving parts. Maybe we can if we get down that, what's it called? We get that boomerang on the Messna chest when we send it, but I honestly don't know. No free lunch is such a clear way to clear the tag. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Alex, how's it going, by the way? This is on 3 no free lunches, and it's a nice way to remove the tag, but it's actually a card that I kind of really like with Barry. The fact that when you face check into an ice, you functionally can gain 3 credits. Not that you should pop this right away. Like that makes Baz easy to use on any board state, and you don't have to forfeit much. Like you don't have to expend or you don't have to spend money installing something expensive. You just get a no free lunch down. You lose a card in hand, but that's like kind of sick. You face check into something, you install no free lunch. Like the problem with no free lunch is that this card is really good as a tech card, but it's really hard in matchups sometimes to find the click to install this because it only gives you 3 credits or removes a tag. Unless it's like super dependent on the matchup, we're getting this down against as like against a Pravdivos deck is the most important card. It doesn't feel like a good click. And so I like that we can offload that with Baz. I think that's really cool. I feel like Taco would be better as a mantle here. I kind of feel that too, but the problem is that it's our MU is probably full, and or we don't install this during a run. But I could see mantle. Mantle is the Shadow is the other card. It costs slightly less influence and gives you 1 recurring credits to use for hardware programs. This is also very important because you can use this to charge your twinning on your opponent's turn. The issue is that Criminal just has an MU problem, and if we want to play Chesvas and well, I don't think we'll play an Ozma, but if we want to play all our breakers and Chesvas, we have an MU problem. But you could see us playing a Mental there. Mental's really, really good. Only one that creates credits, but there are breakers like Penrose and Afterimage. Alarm Clock has helps a ton versus Nebula. Oh yeah, I believe that. Alarm Clock's really cool into Nebula. You can just like click through the ice, whatever it is. Swap Azimut and Taka for Mantle and Fencer many, maybe? Yeah, I could see that. 1 Mantle plus 1 Mary would be an option. How's it going, Ba? Pretty Mary. You want a Pretty Mary? I feel like I don't like Pretty Mary in a deck that's already so like setup dependent. Because for Pretty Mary to be good, we need to first either find a Move Safecracker, then specifically get down a Penumbral Toolkit, then we have to run R&D. Or we have to, like, it's just a lot of work. Or find a twinning, install your twinning, find recurring credits, use your recurring credits, install the Mary. I don't like Mary in any deck that doesn't also like run jailbreaks. Are we supposed to get Move Safecracker? Penumbral. That's my guess. If Krim has a MU problem, just play T400. I have an Az, and it feels a bit better in Az, and Baz could do it too, like you install it during a run. This deck has 2 move problems. Yeah, a lot of people call this MU Safecracker. It's Moo Safecracker, and it's a tradition to name these Safecracker cards after sunken lost cities. So we had Lemuria Safecracker, Codecracker, excuse me. Shout out to the art is also very similar, but shout out to exposed cards. But Moo is the lost city. I think it was a drowned city, right? Moo, it's an ancient city. It's supposedly mythical, right? Yeah, the lost continent of Moo. Introduced by Augustus Le Plongeon, who identified the land of Mu with Atlantis. Yeah, so there is a set. You sometimes see this with these naming policies across cards. All right, we're gonna play it as is and see how it goes. There's gonna be some matchups that will just be cursed, but it's gonna be at least some Baz fun. I'm glad this list is weight because I don't believe in Mu. It also has twinning, but I have no doubt that we're gonna struggle to play Mu because I'm gonna be like frustrated with it. But I have to kind of make sure we can deal with that bias. El Dorado for the Seaman. Hey, it's World Champ Alex, also on chat. I'm a big I can totally make Moose Safecracker work guy, but it's always the last marginal unique multi-access tool in the list. I have no idea why I would have to take a precedence over Decklins and Twinning. It's flexible, but I totally agree. Synapse. At least we have 3 copies of No Free Lunch, but this is a matchup where keeping our economy up is going to be important. We don't know if Alex is going to be playing Synapse as Glacier or Assets. We have open market for the face check. I don't think we want an early Bocklet because taking a tag is bad in the matchup. So our only good card in this hand is Sure Gamble and open market. Good luck, have fun. Thanks, you too. I'm a big stealth believer at this point. I play After Image plus Game Dragon a lot. Oh, that's cool. Baz is Australian. Yeah, Barry Baz Wong is meant to be an Australian character. Ulmal. I would say this is worse, especially because we have the Moo in here. We'll see how much ice. I'm assuming there's going to be ice in the deck. So like pings, funhouses, VSAs is going to be a problem. I love getting the privilege of paying 2 credits to pay 2 credits to get access to 1 extra card after I paid 2 credits to install stealth credits. Tron, that's how I'm feeling about it too. Ours unkept and open with the Spin Doctor. So if we run archives, this list is going to probably IP enforcement us. So we want to make sure that when we're running archives, we don't die to Oracle Stink Tank. It's very important to know that Alex won Worlds with a list that's probably similar to this. So we'll see if this is just reprinted or like replanted. So classic Baz start. Very notably, we don't have Transfer of Wealth, which feels like such a Baz card, but if they don't have money, they can't reside. But the issue here is like we are playing a blank ID. This is the beginning of the pains of Baz. Straight up blank ID. I don't want to run archives because of Stink. Okay, we're winning. I just want to get the money up because we might get small oppoed. Okay, now we might get big oppoed. Seems good. I think we should play the No Free Lunch. Can we die? We could die to end the line if we install a card. Fine. That didn't go the way I thought it would. I think there's agendas in archives. Yeah, we could run archives, but it's a think tank that's really bad for us. Oh, this is the first card I put on my Synapse list. You can run once more and steal next big thing. Yeah, I know, but we can't red team. Trank for 2 credits. We'll see if Alex throws the oppo. We only have 1 Azimuth to deal with the Trank. I kind of like the idea of playing Funno. Funno's not as good as Azimuth, but like it's fine. False leads. Yeah, it looks like he's on Seamless. If he's on Tranquility and Offroad, this generally means the deck is a bit more jammy. Planogram. So we could run this. I don't want to run HQ because I think he shuffled 2 agendas on R&D. So my goal is to run R&D, run the remote server based off the ice with either Boomerang or No Free Lunch. We can Penumbral HQ, but we don't really need to get a Sure Gamble down here. Seamless, yeah, there you go. So the Penumbral's cool because it allows us to trash a Tranquility. The problem is you have to spend a click on it. So we could red team HQ, then run the remote. If we have to take a tag, we have to take a tag. I don't think he has tag punishment. We'll just empty this. I don't think we're going to keep this for knickknack. Okay. We don't really have a game here unless we lose. So we run the remote server, we might have 2 tags. We can clear 1 tag with No Free Lunch. What does he jam that's not a Tomorrow's Headline in the remote server? I don't know. I think if he had a Behold, he would keep it in hand. So this is probably very important. Sadievna? Okay, so we're only going to be breaking a couple of these subroutines. So we can Boomerang through 1 of the subroutines. Clear now. I think we're going to clear after. We're going to hope that we keep No Free Lunch. So we're probably gonna get paid. Oh, wait, do you have to pay first? Do you pay before I decide? I think you do, because this says when you res this ice. This says when an ice is resed. Oh, it's my turn though. Fuck. That's important because we don't install a boomerang here. Net damage and tag. I think we take the net damage. The tag, we know that Alex is trying to seamless, so I don't think we take the tag. Because 2 tags means shipment from Vladisibirsk. So I think we have to boomerang this and then just see what happens. Yeah. Gain 2 credits. So this apparently matters. So we'll break 2 subroutines. We can only break 1. So the tag, we don't want. 2 damage means we die to bite in the remote. You may draw 2 cards. Okay, that's the court may draw, but it's funny to read it. I don't care about the hand that much. If we keep the Moose Safe Cracker, it'll be the worst timeline. Alex doesn't have enough money to do end line public trail, so we'll just do that. Yes! So seamless and an unknown card. Janina. I'm gonna remove the tag. Oh, Synapse goes last click. Yeah, I forgot. We had to care about clearing the tag. So Alex didn't install anything, so I don't think his hand has any installables. If he had an agenda, would have gone straight into server 2. If server 2 was an agenda, he would seamless launch it out. So I don't think his hand is all operations. Otherwise, why would he not Synapse on last click? His hand is only ops. Or I'm missing something. Yeah, okay. Well, that's maybe why. So we know seamless in hand. I'm assuming he's on IP enforcement. So we can just clear at least 3 tags. We know he's on predictive. So if we remove tag, remove tag, remove tag, no free lunch, we can remove all 4 tags. No, that's not true. Huge move here. I think 1 tag is probably fine. It's a shame that Crim doesn't have more thematic cards that says you would lockpicks, pin, guesser, device type stuff. We used to have lockpick back in the day, Lars. It was a criminal stealth card. And I do think it's a cool theme. We'll start first. Sadievna on R&D. Okay, so the game's on R&D. We know it's a seamless and an unknown card. So an IP enforcement, we actually probably could run here. Just go tag me. We probably can actually. This is where like drawing a bravado would be really good. But we don't have it. Alex on 0 credits. Yeah. So we know his hand is seamless and unknown card. So we can't lose to shipment. And he doesn't have the money for IP enforcement. So we can just start touching things. Mestney. Okay. Oh, fuck. The 3 tag removal cards in a row. That's the blowout. That is the one that we're playing around. So that was the unknown card in hand. He did not play that last turn. So now IP enforcement can take away one of our agendas. What if we waked on click 1? I don't think we do. Here, Alex has so much work to do. We scored 2 off-roads and a headline, so I'm going to lie low to get rid of some tags. This is a Sadievna, which costs 4. This could be an agenda with a seamless. Let's see what happens. Remember the Geist times where Crims had a crowbar? I still miss having half my deck installed as Crim. Yeah, I like those a lot. There's the Mestney, goes on R&D. So HQ has nothing. We have no transfers. All right. So not a Janina. I think it's either an agenda or another grid. This deck could be on B1001. We could go for the wake. I don't know if we want to too much. Your digital life for 5. Okay. For 3. There it is the shrink. So install. We know Mestney, Sadievna. The transfer would be so good here. But I don't think we're going to do that much. Okay, unknown. We will get alarm clock down sooner than later. That's a lot of ice. So we want to not play around Crypto Crash, because what's the rest of the agenda suite? There's definitely going to be a couple copies of the next big things, but I think Crypto Crash will be the next points. That's really good to get down if we think this is an agenda. Because if this gets scored out, we're usually down to 4 credits, so we can bounce one of the ice on R&D. We got the tomorrow's headlines, so I'm not too scared. So I think we drop the Hermes and just say what happens happens. Because we know there's a seamless in hand, so there's a real threat here, and I don't want to just go to 4 credits and lose it all to crypto. I think Shiv, Spike, Crowbar are really cool themed names. Or like the break and enter suite, where yeah, criminal felt criminal. All right, probably Spin Doctor is my guess. If it's a think tank or a behold, it's fine. Notice how Baz doesn't do that much. That's interesting. If it's server 3 and we take 2 tags, we can clear both of them. And behold is very expensive for Alex. Public access plaza. Okay, if we take this, that's fine. That's another card I should have played around. I should have seen that coming. Okay, again, we don't have like dirty launch or anything, so I think running that second click is permissible, but we are playing around behold. Need the clock down, it feels like? Yeah, probably. I think if Alex has an agenda, it goes into server 2. If he has 2, this is where it gets a bit ugly, because now he's forced between like scoring out and having some HQ pressure. I don't know what's in server 2. My guess is an upgrade. Yeah, okay. So I'm not going to alarm clock, I don't think, because we can't really install much. We can install no free lunch. Let's try it. I don't think this is a great run. But if we run HQ, if it's a VSA, we take a tag. If it's a ping, we take a tag. All those are pretty bad. I don't think we do it. God, we have no money. This sucks. And like all our liquidity is attached to the stealth thing. We have no pinholes. I think we're just going to try and win off of R&D. Okay, I'm thinking an agenda will be scored this turn, so we can force some money on HQ. We have 2 credits, so we can boomerang if it's in a pinch. It's the Messney, so we can load bring NFL. We want to be spiteful. We can actually install a Hermes just so we don't lose our credits. We spend them. We also can install the Waken plant, which might be a bit better. Or no, we probably just install the Penumbral here and just say we lose the Messna Chesvo. If we boomerang through this, it'll be fine. But I do think we actually install the Penumbral and just bounce. It's kind of funny. Double click this. Oh yeah, right. Forgot we could do that. No, okay. Maybe we should have done that. We'll just bounce here. Yeah, pen seems fine. It still plays around crypto, which is good. Okay, this card we can play last click if we want to. No. Math is hard. We still can't play it. We'll be able to play it next turn. I guess we just draw. Sorry, that was a very scuffed ordering. It's a Janine. Okay. Our kingdom for pinhole. Janine on top of Tranquility definitely like feels like it does something. So it's upgrade Janina Trank. Upgrade, I'm assuming, is an Amaze Amusement. So Janina returns and gets the install. So that actually feels pretty good. It could still be the same Janina. Ice on Archives. Okay, 13 credits. We know that this is Mesna Chesvo into Sarievna. And Ice on Archives. Could have done it. Could have done what? We could have ran HQ, we think. Because we can double boomerang. But we don't have enough credits. We have to pop a no free lunch, which is fine. I think now running HQ and hitting a Janina is fine, or running the remote server. Do you pay the red team with open market? Usually you do. If you want to play around Crypto Crash or you have the what's it called? The knickknack, sometimes you don't. But we definitely could. It's more important that we use the no free lunch to remove a tag though than get actual credits. Because clicklessly removing the tag makes Synapse have less options that they feel they can jam. I'll bite. Red team install last click. That I think was an option. I don't love to do it because then we end up in a situation where Alex ices archives. And we can't red team with alarm clock. It's a ping. Okay. Oh, we can use a penumbral. I mean, I guess. Yeah, makes sense. So we could Kurapira. I'm fine Kurapiring here. This might just be the Janina. We don't know. We're not risking Oppo anymore. We're not going to steal a trash unless we win. So we'll see. Oh, no ability. Okay. So running HQ with the Career Pure is now totally possible. I guess we'll do it, then we'll draw last click. Cool, that's good. As much as we don't have recurrent credits. It is just Janina back, okay. So we know bigger picture Janina, seamless in hand. So every click, this is install for 3. Install a card, gain 2. So it's a click for 4. Pinhole would be so good. Like this public access plaza is just like asking you to pinhole the Janina, let alone the Tranquility. I don't think we do anything. I think we just set up the twinning and do nothing. Synapse is blank pretty frequently, yes. Especially if you just draw poorly, because then you don't want to put your agendas on the table. It's rough. Speaking of rough, holy shit, we don't have money. Like we can win in a single. I don't think we want to do class act credit. Like maybe we do no free lunch, class act, credit, credit, credit. We've drawn on this turn, which is a bit upsetting. But the issues with this deck is like outside of Sure Gamble, there's no card that we can draw that we can play for credits. Besides barring like if you're excited to play a no free lunch. Because all of our cards are impactful and running. Yeah, I think we can chill in 6 points and then just like bully R&D. But getting the 20 down would be really nice. I just don't think we can. I just want to go to a lot of money because I'm assuming at some point we'll get crypto crashed, but maybe we should not live in fear. It's probably wrong. Well, okay, hold on. What are we doing? If we install Class Act with the no free lunch, we go to 6, we go down to 2. I think that's acceptable. What else we're going to do for clicks? Click for credits anyways, so we'll just do this. Yeah, Zero Sure Gamble, it's fine. Next turn we might just do click 3 Sure Gamble, I don't know. The Chesva means we can run HQ for free and charge a twinning, so I think we do Sure Gamble and then we like pivot to Chesva twinning, charge HQ every time by double clicking. Hope that we don't run into Behold. I feel like you need red team. The problem is we can't really red team anything. Yeah, there's a crypto crash. This is what we tried to play around. So luckily we didn't just go up to 6 and pass. We know this is a mess in Chesvo. This is unsmiling. How's it going, by the way, Hart? The thing is, like, we can't really red team these cards. We don't have money to break. We can't keep spending boomerangs. Okay, Janina's in hand. We have no money now. Shit. Like, click 4? The end your turn on like 3 or 4 credits would be worth it to crypto crash you in your eyes? Yeah, because Alex has to score at points because we're pressuring HQ. Because like this means that Alex probably has another agenda. We know the hand is Janina, bigger picture, and then probably 2 seamlesses are out, which is good. So that's the issue. Is like this is our one window to run HQ. The problem is we're short 1 credit because we have to run on click 0 for alarm clock. There's no crypto on the table. Yeah, I think we just click 4. We'll throw out the Game Dragon, the Wake, the red team. You don't hold crypto crash? I think you hold when you're on game point sometimes because you're scared. You could have run. I don't. Oh, you're right. We could have run HQ because of Penumbral. That's true. Yeah, maybe that was worth it. Yeah, I forgot we can use this for Kurapira for sure. I do think we need to get out of it. So spending 2 of our clicks on not playing Sure Gamble is probably sus. Because like now we have to do credit Sure Gamble, install twinning. We could run spin. We can boost Kurapira if we need to. So the agendas are going straight in the remote server. So running HQ is actually a really bad server. If anything, we need to run R&D. So there's, what can we draw into that's financially makes sense? Nothing. So I think we do, luckily we have the headline out. This is the Janina. So we do draw, credit. Sure Gamble twinning, I guess. Nice. Knick-knack's not bad. But I don't think we're going to be running that much. Credit Gamble, Chesva, twin, and just set up. I want to draw because of the filter draw. So now we get twinning down and we can now start pressuring. If we had a mantle here, we could actually like chip every turn and boost our Kurapira on their turn to charge a twinning. So we're not sure what's in front of R&D. We know this is a Sarevna. This might just be the Mesny that went back. We need to contest Spin Doctor sooner than later, but I think Alex needs to shuffle in the seamless launches. With the Smash Ice, he could just like pre-advance the card and not get blown out, but it looks like the deck is mostly on 4-2s. If this is a Crypto Crash and he has a seamless and we go from 6 to 0, it's going to be a nightmare. Okay. Respect. Thinking. So if he has an agenda in hand, he just top decked it. We can bypass pay 1. We run R&D. Click 3. We boomerang the Messney. We run into this. We just let it fire. And we clear the tag last click, assuming the tag can't do anything. I think that's fine. I think it's aggressive, but we see 2 cards. It's the next big thing. It might be. It also could just be the 3-2, but next big thing is the biggest read. And that means he can score out and not. So the run on HQ is not that good because it just gives us a twinning when we get it on R&D anyways. So I think we do just run R&D here. The Chesva we don't actually need. Oh no, it installs the boomerang. We should use it. We have double boomerang. We can run this. We'll see 2 cards. We don't really need to force a Spin Doctor because there's nothing face down in archives. Clearinghouse would hurt, yeah. But I'm not going to play around Clearinghouse. Yeah, we're going to boomerang both. That's a cool line that's easier to do with Baz than Az. I think Fully Break works now. So this should be a VSA. We might get 2 credits. Chesva's good. Yeah, Chesva means that we don't have to use the Penumbral if we don't want to. I don't think we'll use the Penumbral here because the stealth credits are more valuable for twinning, let alone for our stealth cards. So far, Sarievna, we don't need a stealth credit. We can break this for 2 no matter how we cut it. Okay, that's actually expensive. Alex is now only on 5 credits. So we can't take the damage in hindsight. So we have to take the tag, which kind of stinks. Pays us 2, good. So he did draw 2, so he's just trying to hold. This is... I don't care if Alex draws this. This I care, but this turns on Oppo, so we're not going to trash. Is anyone playing Clearinghouse? Yeah, some Wayland decks are. Some Op decks are. Ooh, Hollow Man install. That's really sick. On 7 credits? Oh, because of Fire's Tranquility. Yeah, that's really, really good. Imagine if you will bite. Yeah. Yeah. I think Behold is something we'd more play around here. This also sucks because we iced up all in R&D. Next big thing for 6 advancements. So the credits are not very good here. Alex is on game point, as we are. We know a bit of the hand, so we have to return a card. I think we'll challenge a remote. Amaze Amusements doesn't matter now. It's an unknown card. If Alex is on embedded, he can win next turn because he just installs pays 5. And he'll have 5 credits next turn because Tranquility, Access Plaza. Janina's still in hand, but we just lose out of nowhere. So the best we can do is run R&D, but unfortunately, our Breaker Suite is all shuffling into our deck. So I think we're like pretty cooked here unless we get lucky. Yeah, he can FA now. We have no pinholes. So this could be Janina. It could be any agenda we lose to. Tranquility is going to give 2. Access is going to give some. He can even next big thing if his hand is cooked, which is not. Could be the Janina. Probably not the Access Plaza. But yeah, we can't deal with this. Could be agendas and archives. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not going to run HQ. Draw. We need that. And this is also really bad. It's not the ISIS res. We have no click compression. We have to literally install the boomerang runs with the setter up and then we flatline. Useless. Wolf 2, we can't run centrals. There's no wolf to be had. Taka is useless. So we probably lose. Baz fired 4 times. It does not feel good. It feels really bad. At least we have double boomerang. But again, we can't install them anymore. Our tricks are not there. Janina can install anything or a non-agenda card? Oh, you may install anything. Okay, so we can still lose to a 3-2 here. C2 R&D, we can't. The Sarievna, we need at least 2 cards in hand. It's a bummer we didn't charge cards. I might have been right to charge here, but Spin Doctor shuffling Unseens. I think those are agendas. So at least now they're back in rotation, so we have a shot. So our only line here is to boomerang the Messney and like send it. Hey, Vario. It's probably the Plaza. Could be an agenda. probably the winning agenda. Can we run the remote server? Can we try twinning off turn with Penumbral? No, it's only during runs. So if you can run off turn, yeah. But that's why Mantle seems pretty good compared to Taka. Okay, so if we deal with the Hollowman, we could win. Discarded one card. So Spin Doctor might be protecting an agenda. If we run H R&D, we can put a Boomerang and run, but we have to shuffle. I want to see someone cook up an environmental testing Baz. It's just really hard. Like, your engine is not good. If they don't, like, we res 4 or 5 ice and we're already like kind of cooked. Like, our deck doesn't do anything anymore. Like, it's just so slots intensive that you need D-res, you need them to be running ice. It's not good. It's very hard for it all to align. It's very, very hard for it to feel like it aligns, especially because once you get to the mid game, you just have no text. All right, so what are our odds? We only have to steal one agenda. We've seen 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This could be a 5-3. So say it's a 5-3, worst case, that's 14. So there's only 3 more agendas in the game. Face down card in Archives, my guess it would be an agenda so that Alex doesn't have to be stressed about us alarm clocking HQ. It's not strong enough unless you're playing things like Window. Yeah, Window helps a lot, but that's the issue. You're totally right. Is like the more that you play cards like Window, the less slots you have to do like Baz stuff. Because then you realize like I should be playing Window and Clean Getaway and Bravado, and then you end up in a really bad spot. Hey Pat, hopefully you're doing all right, huh? Is this deck a Window? No. Or Saucy? No. Sort of Engine's the only thing I've seen that made Baz look all right. No, it has none of those. It's all Stealth, which is also very slots intensive. All right, so Spin Doctor, I'm assuming it's a public access plaza. It might not be. We could run the Spin Doctor, but then Alex doesn't have to shuffle it. So we could start by running Archives. That could get us the Boomerang install, so it saves us a click, which is kind of fine. So I'll do it. If it's an Inspiring Serebna, we lose 2 cards from hand, that's a bit bad. But we have no reason to draw here, I don't think. So we'll challenge Archives and see if there's an agenda in here. Because I want to be the agendas in R&D, then we run R&D. At this point, we can float a single tag. It shouldn't have any implications. Unless it's like bigger picture into fast advance. It's a Messney. Okay, so we can spend 1 Boomerang on this and we'll be fine. This actually takes 5 credits away from Alex, so we might be able to contest. Bouncing off this loses us 3 credits, so I wouldn't say might as well, but might as well. Nothing, a Doom Scroll, okay. So this means we can now do Boomerang on Messney. We can C2, let all of Seti have no fire. If we do that, we'll have 1 click left to clear the tag, which is not great. So then we could just like run server 2. If there's another pink here, which is super likely, then we float 2 tags, which is a problem. We haven't seen the tag punishment. With bigger picture, I'm assuming it's either IP enforcement, but more likely just like shipment from Vladisibirsk, which is an issue. So I think we just run R&D and C2 cards. Like the amount of effort we have to do to touch cards, not that like triple message chess was not hard for criminal. It's like, yoy. Yeah, I think we just send it. Guessing tags don't matter. They kind of do. On 6 credits next turn, that's all Alex needs to score out, which is a bit rough. But if it's a shipment for Vladisibirsk, but on 6 credits, it might not matter. So we'll lose our hand. Moonsafe Cracker actually would be okay here. We'd see another card, like no joke. Draws 2, okay. That is full random. Spin Doctor using it, so we're diluting the deck. If we didn't draw 2 Boomerangs, like this is not a line. And we had 23 cards or 24 cards in our deck when we started drawing. So Oppo, YDL, okay. We'll still win here. Trank, Oppo, okay, no, that's it. So that's probably a good game. If we remove, he can install something. So he can install on top of the Tranquility, which gives him credits. If we float the tag, he can bigger picture us to take our money. Boost the curve for an extra access. We already used the twinning installing with the Chesva, so we were good. If we didn't, we would have boosted, but we already installed the Boomerang while running Archive, so we filled our twinning for the turn. Run 6, it's very unlikely. I think you could have seen his 3rd card. No, we only had 1 twinning counter. Right? Like we started with the 0 twinning counters, we charged it running Archives. I don't think I missed that, did I? Yeah, we already charged it. Hey, Jacob. Yeah. So if we remove the tag, it's pretty bad. We can't make a run here. If we remove the tag, you can install on top of the Tranquility. If this is a Spin Doctor 2, you can install on top of this. I don't think there's a good line for us here. I'd rather lose to a trick. If we had the MU, we could see another card. So installing an end pot, that's fine. Triple Ace installed cheaply was kind of cool at Synapse. It's just a Janina. So we haven't lost yet. Alex probably has it in hand, but hasn't used the next big thing last turn. So now we know this is an end pot, which we cannot break with Boomerang. Like, we literally don't have an ID that has text. Public trail? Oh, cool. There's a lot of ways this can go poorly for us. Bigger picture, okay. Needs to give us 2 tags here. If you just take the tag away, it doesn't really do anything. Yeah, that can't be the play. JK swaps and then he FAs. Yeah, if he has a 3-2, he can do it. Because he gets a tranquility. Why do you give us a tag? Because of freedom? Can he now freedom a 3-2? No? 2 advancements? Bigger picture? I don't know what's happening. So, what? So we lost 2, but we don't have to clear the tag anymore? What is Alex doing? Alex just cleared the tag for us. And so we know this is a public access plaza. So there's 3 public access on the table. We're 0 credits, but Alex has cleared the tag. Alex is on 8 credits, so we're like slightly bankrupt. So the only place we can run here is HQ, and all we do is run HQ, and we can see 2 cards in hand. Chat, that's the only server we can run. Okay, hold on, that's not true. We could run the remote server. We need to thinking. So if we run the remote server, we're assuming one of these is a ping. We know it's not in the message chat, so if it's an end pot, Alex spends 4. Yeah, I think he's looking for a 3-2, but actually maybe he's not on 3-2s. Maybe he's on like all 4-2s. So like I'm assuming the list is next big thing, next big thing. So this is probably the next big thing. So next big thing, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So maybe on 1 embedded reporting. So we can run HQ, double click through this, pay with a Chesva C2 on HQ. We could also run this remote server and assume that the money that's being spent to res this will stop you from scoring out. Sadievna, we actually have to break. So no, that's not a line because we have to draw 2 cards. So we could draw 2 cards and run this. We know there's end pots. End pots are res for 4. That's a fine face check. I think we should do draw, run server 2. I think running HQ is also an option. Technically, Alex could have cleared HQ with the next big thing, but we can see half of the hand. We know nothing about the hand. Oh no, we know there's a tranquility in there because we just saw one, right? Or a spin doctor and oppo. I forget if that was the run before or after. So I think we want to run the remote server. It could just be the Janina though. Wait, do you have Janina back to hand and then reinstall? Yeah, so you can reinstall the Janina. That's kind of fun. Okay. There's no spins? No, there is no spins. But I think next big thing would fix it. 3 crypto, 3 off, 3 and 2 next, 1 tomorrow, and 20 is probably sweet. 3 crypto, 3 off, 2 next, 1 tomorrow. Oh, I did the math wrong. You're right. That's 6 plus then you have 7. So that's 14 plus 6. Yeah. So it's probably only 4 2s. So chat, we can still thinking. We can run HQ, go for half the hand. We know half the hand though, I think. Or we can run server 2, which is unlikely. We need, if Alex has an agenda in here, we need to make him spend at least, well, it's actually really hard because he's functioning on 10 credits. I think I'd rather draw run the remote. Oh, sorry. Sorry. You can just fire this up. I'll ask after this is right, but I think we have a bigger chance of running this. It's not high chance. We're missing pings and we can break pings. So that's fine. So we have to draw. This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. So I think we just run the server. If we click for a credit, what does that change? We have 4 credits to work with. End pot we can't break. Boomerang we're bluffing. So if we do credit, we're bluffing Boomerang. But if it's just an end pot, we lose the game. So I guess we might as well draw once more. Okay. We have to get really lucky here. It has to be like 2 pings. Let's see a Mitra. When they have 2 credits to work with, yeah, that's enough. Oh, that's a lot of money. We have 2 credits, not 4. Yeah, which is fine. We had to deal with 2 pings. That's interesting. So we install an open market. We actually like move these credits from us. Alex is going to be on 4 credits next turn, which means he can score out. He does credit, place 4, place 1. No, he might not be able to score out. Huh. Probably install Knickknack. I think we install Knickknack and run this first click next turn. It also charges the twinning. That's cool. So we don't know what that is. Third public access. It's a Janina. Okay. Oh, I can't believe he's not hitting that next big thing. So Knickknack the class act, which is pretty good. I don't think you get the filter draw on the class act, right? God, our Kingdom for a Pinhole, just Janina has been giving so much value. And it's because we can't pinhole the open public access plazas. I just feel like the margin of error and the liquidity in this deck is so rough because you're attaching all your money to cards like this. Like 3 sure gambles just doesn't do it. Hopefully you're running for free, but like I feel like in person could be like GG, no, GG, no. Yeah. Okay, now he's finally using the next big thing. Okay, so we're assuming there's still 4 agendas in rotation. Now we have to pay attention because he draws 4 and shuffles any amount back. We know, ow, my foot's asleep. We know what R&D is perfectly. We know what HQ is currently perfectly. And to score out, he's going to need some credits, but Janina is definitely going to fire. So we shuffled 1 into the remote. Sorry, into R&D. So he definitely has an agenda here he can install. He can't score it out. Can't oppo us. Planogram for 3. Oh, my foot's really asleep. And now he's going to be discarding cards. And I think putting agendas in archives, we've proven that we wanted to check it. So now we have to figure this out. Oh, so asleep. So we can run HQ and see 3 cards of HQ. I think Alex would not keep agendas in HQ. We could top deck a Boomerang by running with the class act, but then we have to install it here. I think no matter what, we run HQ at a minimum because it's clickless, right? Oh no, but then we lose our 4 cards to the Mesa Chesvo unless we alarm clock it. What does it take for us to break End Pot? God, we're on Shibboleth. It's not going to be good. We could also consider running this. So we click through the Brawn. Hope, hope, hope. No, that's pretty bad. So I think we run HQ, trash the class act, draw a card, double the Messney. We have to draw a Boomerang. Then we draw a Boomerang, run archives. Why not shove all the hand into R&D? I think that's an option, yeah. Yeah, you're right. We could have got rid of the whole hand. I just don't know why Alex would hold on to agendas into the only server we can run. So I don't feel like I like the HQ run. I just think that's all we can do. Hopping for a work meeting. Thanks for the stream. I'll catch you Thursday. Hey, Roshni, thanks for dropping by. Hopefully your new scheduling is working out well for you. Like, we have to run R&D. The issue is that we can't beat Messney. You can trash Hermes? Yeah, you're right, but we'd rather have the class act money. I was going by thumbs. We can definitely, but I think we just want 4 credits. Maybe 2 credits is enough, and then we get the filter draw so we can get a Boomerang. 7 with Shippy, 9 without 3 credits with Boomer. Yeah, Boomer is 3 credits plus. So then we need 2 Boomers because of Messney. Like, it's just, we can't break code gates. The Sweet is meant to be good at breaking ice. We can't figure it out. Shibboleth is just not good. I wonder if you can play Penrose. I think it's the only server we can run, which is really like shaping our options here. That we probably just have to run this in C3. And then hopefully we can see a single top of R&D. I think I'll get rid of the class act because it gives us more options. Getting rid of Hermes is fine too. What does 4 credits change? 4 credits changes that we could get double Boomerang and we could do Boomerang, Boomerang. We also, there's no way that we can farm ping. Like farming ping is also an option so that we can break through the Brawn, but that's also pretty bad. So we'll make a run on HQ. We'll knickknack something. Actually, no, we should knickknack the alarm clock. We knickknack the class act. We draw a single card but gain 4 credits. I'll just do it. Oh, that's awful. You can bounce with this. It's first encounter, not first per turn, but first encounter per run. So in theory, like you can brute force a Messney, which is kind of funny. It's very expensive. I guess an end pot you could brute force a bit more. I just don't know why Alex would keep agendas in hand here. Oppo, Starlet. Yeah, it's the Janina. If we trash Janina, we're open to Oppo, but we're going to lose anyways. That means there's likely an agenda in the remote server. Yeah, I don't like this run. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So what can we do? Draw for a boomerang? We can't run this. We can't run this. We can't run this. Yeah. That's a good game. We've got nothing. It feels like we're even worse as boomerang the deck than Baz. Sorry, than Az, but we don't have tricks. Take a game. Like, imagine having that start and then still not being able to convert anything. Did you drop anything in archives? HQ was the only server I could run, but I know you have nothing in there. Feels bad to be in that situation where the only play we can do is run HQ. I don't think Alex has anything in hand. Just in case you have double boomerang. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Even then, I don't have the clicks to install the double boomerang. Yeah, we just don't have the clicks and credits to install the double boomerang. Maybe we can set up a bit more. We were a bit aggressive in the early game. We got the red team. We ran the remote server where I don't think was super likely, but we shot up the first Janina, which seems nice. Yep. Real rough. But once you're in there with the, like, yeah, that's the problem is like Baz timings. Once this is iced up, like we have no tricks to get in here. Yeah. What was the remote ice? Oh, it's a second brand. Okay, cool. So we would consider clicking through this brand, then this gets rezzed. Alex still has enough money. We can fire the Serevna. So this is actually probably a better line. It's just straight running this. Would you saying having a Baz time? Are you going there, Bray? I did go slow to 4 double brown and then end bot. Yeah. But I don't think you had agendas in hand. Think that class act boomerang alone gets you into this remote? If we knick-knack, classic, find a boomerang, it doesn't necessarily get us in the remote. It's probably like our shoot for the moon that we could try. So we knick-knack this, we sell the classic, we draw a card, it's boomerang. We click through the brown, we boomerang the second ice. The odds of you drawing it are like 3 in, what was it, 20? So not great odds. Not the worst odds, and probably better than running HQ. So maybe we should have tried it. That sounds about right. When you keep then open with a spin and then the game gets weird, you know the spin cooked you. Yeah, that opening he kept, and then when you open with a spin, suddenly it's like any opening hand. It could be terrible. Hey, thanks for the game. My stomach is not good. I think we can hold on for a bit longer, but yeah, I'm definitely feeling it. Would you say that Baz outperformed having 14 additional credits from Los? No. I honestly think I'd rather have Los. My kingdom for a pinhole. Cheers. I think that classic sounds like a start of nursery rhyme. Somebody more creative than me needs to finish it out. It's something to do with soup. That's all I know. What's the ideal matchup? It's hard. You know, Alex, we have no pinholes. We have no transfers. The deck is on like 6 operations or 6 events. So I can't deal with Janina. Yeah, the Ice on Archives made no sense, but it still didn't make any sense because you had the pad campaigns out, right? I guess it stops me from using Chesva, but you had the public accesses, so no matter what, it was happening. Oh, this matchup's gonna be weird because we can deal with Thunderbolt. The third subroutine hurts Boomerang, but Thunderbolt can do some Mitra stuff, and we're gonna see a Stegadon, and it's gonna be misery. Classic bought a bowl of soup. Okay, so we have Side Hustle Red Team. We have Game Dragon, which is probably fine in this matchup. I do think getting out an after image and spending 2 credits is going to bypass most of Thunderbolt's shtick. However, a lot of Thunderbolt ice is actually now barriers, but getting down the after image with 2 stealth credits is pretty good. I don't think we're going to be able to be as aggressive on centrals because just like a tithe is annoying enough. So I think we're going to mulligan this. The Boomerang is really good. The No Free Lunch is fine. Side Hustle is not a card I want in this deck. I want to have more access to my economy than offloading it to a card that requires a lot and from a deck that already seems like it requires a lot. So we'll mull. That's closer to what we want for sure. I just don't know if we can afford to face check and just lose the size of dot on turn 1, such as the Thunderbolt issue. Try to avoid understanding the list so much if I'm going to jump in. Yeah, cool. Yeah, we have no, it's like very, it's a stealth list and very operation light or event light, excuse me. Having no free lunch is a good matchup for you. Yeah, it was not bad. The problem is like the deck has very little liquidity. So like an Oppo research will ruin us because we don't have like clean getaway. We don't have bravado. We don't have, the biggest liquidity we have is Sure Gamble and then Red Team. Did Harp Mold. Best of luck, have fun. Hey Sam, how's it going? I'm doing okay. My stomach's been bad all weekend, so I'm holding on. How you doing? I wonder if Harp knows we're non-transfer. Okay, the anti-transfer opening. Love to see it. So here we can do sure gamble. I don't want to face check. We have no reason to Harp mold, so we can steal from centrals. This is where like getting side hustle down makes some amount of sense, but I think we just do sure gamble, open market, red team, run, and then we don't get side hustle down. In theory, you might not want to use all these credits if you're planning to knick-knack this, but I think we'd rather have their liquidity up front. There goes our whole hand. Oh, excuse me. Dies to bite. Tier, good. We'll bypass it for the 2 stealth credits, hopefully. Sorry to hear that. Hope it improves soon. I'm good. Just working from home. Good to hear. Hopefully the work is going well. Harp might be on Lightning or ADT if she's holding on with no money to tier. This is where like I can never find the time to get down side hustle because the chance of it firing is not guaranteed. At least next turn with red team, we can get it down and like run archives, run HQ, but we need to be drawing. Okay. Do we face check? I think I face check at the remote server. Chat, what kills us on the remote server? Like die to Saisantan? We could draw once for a boomerang. I'm going to die to Saisantan. I think it's fine. We need to deal with the regolith as soon as possible. So show me a Boto, show me a Hagen. Oh, she can't Boto us. Show us a Hagen, show us a Tithe. Losing the Trickster Taka to Tithe is really bad. We might have not wanted to draw. See if she reses here. Again, the ice will have another subroutine, which allows us to trash. Actually, in accordance to Thunderbolt, it was probably right to keep a credit on open market because a credit is worth a subroutine. So we shouldn't have resed. Prototype. Interesting. Yeah, we definitely shouldn't have done the thing that we wanted to do. So I don't want to put down Safecracker immediately, or sorry, Taka immediately, because if we don't have breakers, this she shows herself out, which is pretty bad. I'm not going to side hustle. I'm just going to keep drawing for boomerangs and stuff. You can install the Taka before you lose it, so you'd be safe to Tithe. Yeah, but then we probably are not going to get a breaker down in the next 2 turns, and then we lose Taka anyways. I'd rather take the risk. Because if we don't have an icebreaker, we can't take the tag, right? Andre forever on the dice to Saisantan cope. I mean, like, it is literally the play the Saisantan and HB identity. All right, is she setting up a fully op, or just the ice on server 1 didn't make sense for her? No events in hand, Jason. How's it going? Yeah, you're right. We're totally safe. What do we see on hand on the first run? A tier. Draw once. Fine, now I'm safe. I will do the side hustle. I'll commit to the bit. And then now we have to red team archives, which is like a pretty bad play. So again, boomerang's not perfect. We'll sell our side hustle on 5 credits. It's a boomy. All right, so we can boomerang that. Get it? Boomerang. It has 3 subroutines, so that's perfect. So the boomerang works. She also has no money, so we'll break the subroutines that matter. So we'll break the core. If we don't install a program, it doesn't do anything. We just click once. This card's so clumsy. That hand is not it. I'm sorry. Ingatan, okay. Shuffle boomerang. We would have lost our trickster faster. She's on 2 credits, so she can res Tithe. I think we just draw. We need to find a boomerang in every hand. So far, we fired once. Imagine we're playing Zaya or any of the other options. Maybe we should be more aggressive, and maybe this is the matchup where you don't want to be super aggressive. On 2 credits, we can be aggressive. But like, this is where making bad runs for side hustle or red team doesn't make sense. Like, do we spend a click to run archives? Maybe a click for 3 is good enough here. But I think we'd rather use this on HQ. I'll run the remote server for sure and click through this. Because we need to trash like her regoliths and stuff like that. We just need to make sure if we get in there, we can trash Tranquility, because that'll be her most important card. Just red team HQ and R&D. Yeah, I'm a bit worried about Tithe. We probably shouldn't be. I'll definitely run HQ. I'm not super interested in R&D. Oh, now it's Spin Doctor. It'll get more interesting. Especially if we can get the Penumbral down. He says, not having to need it. But if we can run HQ, get the Penumbral down, we're fine. Okay, we'll check everything besides the spin. Oh, actually, this sets up fully up. If she fully ups here, she's good. It looks like she's playing a fully up deck. Which for fully up, you need multiple remote servers that all have ice and something in it. So like just running down the Spin Doctor is worth something. But if she discards, yeah, okay, there it goes. Yeah. So now on 7, we know this wasn't res on 5. So if it's an on sell, that's fine. We'll click through it. So I'll run this first. Again, if we install something, that's fine. We're working on our side hustle. It's not been the worst. Mitra. Have we ever fired the Moose Safecracker? No, but we've only played one game and we lost it to damage. It would have been okay in that game though. How's it going, Jam? But it's Moo. It's not great. Yeah, I thought she was discarding. She did claw a good fully upper. Her hand's probably flooded based off the last play. So running HQ actually still makes sense. But she didn't res this on 5. We know it could be a tier, I think. No, it's a pulse. Oh, okay. So we're going to lose a click. That's fine. So we get to install something, our treat. Red team is not unique, but functionally is unique. So I guess we'll install the Penumbral for 2. Yeah. So we can't trash Tranquility, which sucks, but we'll spend a click. This is not AP, so it doesn't have another subroutine or a Destroyer. She's on Tyrion Bloop. She's definitely on Bloop now. Prototype, yeah, we'll trash that. We won't use the Penumbral. Stealth is really important in the matchup. And now we will red team Archives. We could red team HQ. She's definitely flooded, but if things go into behind the Pulse server, we just need to keep our money up. I want to lie low. This is now where running the remote server doesn't make sense for Baz, because Baz's ability is no longer relevant. Bloop online somewhere? Yeah. At least with Bloop, we beat it with a boomerang, or we beat it by drawing our after image, because we don't care about all the subroutines. Because we don't install programs as much as we install a program, but we're going to try and bypass Bloop for 2 credits. And that's why we want to keep these Penumbral credits around. And the good thing is if we find our breaker, and we do have 2 copies of Mutual Favor, we can always just boost the Chaka for fun. Okay, that's cool. We can check both of these. I think we just run. Side Hustle will fire on the second one. So we'll start on the first one, I think. We'll start on the second one. This one's likely to be a bit cheaper. Bloop D-Res is another piece of ice, extra Baz value. Oh yeah, you're right. Brasilia in the remote server. I'm going to say no for now. What's that doing there? Drew a Shibboleth. Hate it. I mean, it breaks us for 2. Mersha can't have that. I'm fine. I guess we install the Shibboleth, but installing the Shibboleth means we have to deal with Boomy, so I want to avoid that. I think we just try and get rid of this red team and keep on tempo. So we'll run Archives. We probably should run HQ here. On 4 credits last click, though, Boomy's kind of bad. I don't think a core damage is going to cook us, but losing the Shibboleth to errant core and net damage will be a problem for us. Hopefully we just let her do what she does in the remote server this turn and lie low and set up. It's just when you're on 5 cards with Lilo, you go up to 8 and then you discard a card, but that'll be fine. We have enough money. Yeah, and it actually is kind of neat that like you technically have Baz text even into Stegadon, as much as you don't want to de-res cards on your own volition. I don't know why this didn't end up somewhere else. Probably no Ice HQ. Okay. Is she gonna set up a fully op? The HQ Ice was just playing around red team. Okay, I don't think we run this. Worst case is a Stegadon here. Actually, no, we probably do just like Shibboleth run this. Why wouldn't we? Everything has been drawn out of order. Yeah, that's the So if we clear this, it helps us deal with fully op, which is good. Problem is we don't have a good reason to run. Whatever, I'll keep checking. I don't like that we're trashing stuff with spin on the table. So here we'll red team Archives, probably install a red team and just empty our hand. Oh, we could have got the Taka down actually. Yeah, we'll do Taka down, red team Archives. We could have got the Taka down last turn. I think we had enough clicks. Warm reception, yeah. So this means next turn we run this for 1 credit. Money's still not good. We need to empty the second red team, but we need to be making better runs than running Archives. We do have 4 more credits than we think we do, but oh my god, we probably should just let the Stegadon go through and not care. I just hate that. Stegadon going through is just the worst. You probably know. Like, not running on the table and having a Stegadon go through, just the worst. Let's see what goes back. Imagine fully op and, oh, 2 prototypes. Okay. That makes sense with our rig. Are we going to install the next red team? Then don't use the original one? Why? Because of Knickknack? They're not unique, but they functionally don't work because you have to run a server you haven't ran. So I guess it plays around knickknack. Okay, no fully op. So Boomy server is the one we have to check. Yeah, I don't think save for knickknack is massive because saving it for knickknack only saves you 2 credits, right? Because you don't get the 3, but you get 5. So it's like, it's a 2 credit card. It feels better than it actually is. I don't think we would save it. Our money's not that good, especially when we install this one and we'll be bankrupt. All right, so if this is, we have to run this because she's like clearly like scrambling for the table. And so I feel like we have to run this and double click because if this is a, what's it called? We're in a bad spot. Maybe this is just keeping us busy though, because she has the server 3 that she wants us to run this into. I really hate that we're playing like smothered Netrunner. 2 credits and a draw, sure, but I think we just need the 3 credits now. Hostile. Oh, fantastic. Tier again. Okay. Is red team not unique? No, it's not unique, but functionally it's run a server you haven't run, so it plays out like it's unique. So at least she has no money now. One card in archives. I think we're just going to drop red team and face the music. And then the music is run every server. Spin. Checking archives will be good. We'll check archives before R&D. But I think we'll just drop red team and run everything. We just want to make sure we have at least a click for Boomy. So I guess we do red team, run HQ first, run archives. We probably don't run R&D. We have 2 clicks. We have to watch how Stavka can just hit us out of nowhere. Like if we don't have our killer, because Stavka will just be 8 strength. Doesn't Bloop hurt too much? Oh my god, I forgot about Bloop. Bloop is 3 to res? I guess so. Yeah, so I guess we get blooped. I thought Bloop was 4. Oh no. Oh, an enemy. Oh, we just die. Oh, okay. Oh, good game. Okay. I don't know if we should have played around that. So we don't have a boomerang. Hey, GG. Should we have drawn once? Yeah, me neither. I think Bloop was the worst res there. Is Bloop 3? Yeah, Bloop is 3. Bloop would have been bad too. We would have lost our program taking a core damage. But yeah, we just died to this. Yeah, okay. So Andre scared of Sycenton dies to the 3 net damage Sycenton instead. I wasn't playing around this. I guess with Hostile Architecture, we probably should have seen that this is going to be on some more damage cards, which not great for us, but yeah, we can't break this. All right. We were too aggressive into Thunderbolt, he says. On turn 8, running HQ for the 3rd time. Oh, you can fire the sub. Cool. Thanks for the game. All right, so what do we need to do here? If we wanted to stabilize, we need to play our Lilo to draw cards. The Lilo gets us into a class act. Oh no, Lilo gets us into a mutual favor, which is good, because then we get our killer down and then that's okay. Brasilia also signals Anemone. There's a combo kill there. Yeah, it could signal a lot of things. Like I think you play Brasilia no matter what, if you're playing ping or an enemy or just even like your other stuff. But yeah, we definitely should have respected that a bit more. That's the sort of thing if you don't see it coming, you'll be blown out by it. At least that's less guaranteed than Sycenton. But yeah, 3 credits for sure. That'll just flatline us. If we draw 1 more, we're okay. I think if we lose our hand, we're okay there. But the Lilo, we probably should have just played. I'm just like trying to not get hit by Boomy. But I do think in the context of like, oh, it's really bad to get hit by a bloop there because we lose our Shibboleth. We probably shouldn't have made that run. So if anything, we would like do red team archives Lilo and just say, I don't care. Because she didn't build her board state, so we're just trying to be aggressive. I think what we're realizing too is like, I don't know if this probably scales pretty poorly into late game for us if she's on the 3-1, but yeah, we probably just get our breakers down so we don't have to make scary face checks. Yeah, feels bad. That did not feel good. All right, let's run it back. I guess hostiles are to protect warm reception. Oh yeah, that's kind of neat, right? That you don't deal with the hostiles, so they just constantly re-res their ice. But all the ices were like warm reception was iced up, so you're not de-resing anything, right? Because don't you have to not ice up warm reception? Thanks, you too. I had another warm reception in hand. Oh, good game, by the way, Harp. When your turn begins, you may install a card from HQ. Yeah, so if it's iced up, you can't derez. So I guess that warm reception on the table, we didn't probably have to trash. I wanted to trash it because it dealt with fully up. Yeah. I think she doesn't want it iced. All right, this is where I get frustrated because I think playing against Auko when you don't have like a really good runner deck feels really, really bad. It just does not feel good. We have no pinhole. We do have boomerangs, which is good. We have Hermes, we have Gamble, we have Lilo. That's fine. But like this hand is not great. Oh yeah, Blurby, this might be the mitosis deck, which like, oh no, what have we done? Yeah, Hermes is fine, especially if it's mitosis, which I think she is on mitosis. But yeah, I feel okay. Fut turn 1. Great. We have to boomerang this and hope it's not a what's it called? Hope it's not a Samaximon. Just like not good. So we do Sure Gamble, Lilo, Open Market. We're on a lot of cards, so this brings us up to 7. We install 1, discard 1. Also Makoto and Greed to put the WR on. Oh, neat. I've not really played with a lot of Makoto. So this is going to control the game a fair bit. It might not do anything, but we don't have pinhole. So basically our job is just to find the boomerang. So I think we can Lilo here. We didn't find the boomerang. We can install 1 card, so I guess it'll be the open market because economy matters. Double Penumbral probably isn't it. Twinning is not bad. We don't have a setup for it besides open market. Side hustle is probably good because we need to run a lot. We can get that out cheaply. And getting the clickless card draw is, I think we throw out the Penumbral. We may also be able to face check server 1 and just say like res your Tattoo Bola, res your Samaximon. That might have been fine on turn 1. Okay, playing Petty Cash first. 2 cards on the table. Okay. Oofa doofa. So if it's a sting, we take 3 damage. We want to get Hermes down first. We want to get Side Hustle down first. We can't afford to do that. We have to trash cohorts. Side Hustle is goated Auko tech. By goated, I mean, it just makes it feel better to trash Bladderward. Yeah, it's not bad. It's definitely not bad. The FUD is going to cook us here. It's a hostile. Okay, great. We can't really afford to take this damage. He is now on Bladderwort. Having this hand, this matchup does not feel good. Red team's not bad though. The problem is like FUD on the table, red team is a liability. So we either trash this now. Yeah, it's not good. So we died a sting here. We'll try and find a cohort. Okay. What? That is 4 damage? Oh, that's 3 damage. Oh, okay. Oh, GG. How does that do 4? X is equal to 1 plus the number of copies of Sting, so that does 1. And it's 2 counters, which does 3 damage. 1 plus, yeah, right. They're both X pluses. Baz out of 10. This is going great. Yeah. What was the ice on it? Yeah, okay. This is embarrassing. So was it was a size and ton in front of a FUD. If we face checked, we die. Oh fuck. Good old Baz doing nothing. Great, good stuff. We had to deal with the table, otherwise she scored. Well, okay, hold on. So if we don't run, she probably scores at the sting. We end up taking the same amount of damage. Yeah, we were cooked there. Good game. Hyperbolic egg chamber. Yeah, I'd have died to the face check 100% there. Yeah, I think running the face check was not terrible. The face check after this point is kind of rough because if you allow her to res ice, then on the table, she can get the Bladderwort, which is pretty bad. But yeah, that sucks. As soon as the FUD's on the table, if you can't pinhole it, you kind of can't run. Yeah. Yeah, once a hostile's res, we could check the FUD. It might have been better to leave the table and check the FUD. I think that's probably correct. Is that once we deal with the hostile, we just deal with the FUD? Because once it's FUD, do we get cooked by an enemy? Maybe we do. No, not that bad. you run after trashing hostile, you still have to click to check the table. No, I don't think so. I think we have to draw maybe. Because if she's down on no credits and we've checked the FUT, if she scores a sting, it just does 1. I think that's okay. My win rate against turn 1 FUT is probably 0. The card's horribly toxic. It's well, like, play pinhole, do all this sort of stuff. Like, the format is so good right now and not dying. Like, Baya Bands, pinhole, Stone Ship Chart Room. Like, we're dying. But we're also playing this Baz deck where none of our cards matter in this matchup. Like, this is all salad, unfortunately, into this sort of matchup. Not entirely true. We do have some cool asset tech, like we can run, but like it's so hard. You need your opening hand to be really good. They have to be at 0 cards if they resident enemies, so they can't bladder kill you. Yeah, I guess we're risk to bladder if we're on no cards in hand. I don't know. Good game, lady. Duckland, that's the second game we've died to. The Jinteki, kind of out of nowhere. I totally thought we were safe to sting, but I think the right line is just to deal with the FUT. I need to slow down a bit. But this Baz deck just ain't it for me. Want another Thunderbolt game? I'm like not excited about the D-Res Thunderbolt deck. But if it happens, it happens. Hey, good evening. Hey, good afternoon. Cool. Okay. So we have liquidity issues that require interaction. The Penumbra is useless. The Chesva is nearly useless. I don't like this hand. If we don't open with a sure gamble, we have like very few credit positive turn 1s. So Knick-Knack's good. Hey, Disc, FUT is the PD in this meta. The Gatekeeper card. The runner can't beat FUT. It's viable. I wouldn't say that. I definitely wouldn't say that. I think the PD is the PD. If your runner can't beat PD, definitely shouldn't bring it. We tried a friend of a friend in Baz. No. It's interesting. I think like it's cool tactic. I think friend of a friend, how much influence is it? We like don't have that many tags in the deck. Like we're not playing transfer. It's only 1. I mean, it's kind of cool. The problem is like this text isn't very good unless you're doing a lot with it. Like taking a tag is bad. Removing a tag, also not good. Like this feels kind of like removing a tag in criminal actually is relevant because you can play some of the cool criminal tag cards like transfer, which we're not. I do feel like friend of a friend kind of feels a bit like Rent Rioters. Like it's still kind of expensive and like you have to plan your whole turn around it. Is this that different? It might not be. Tension and Pig title feels more like a struggle. It's like a massive benevolent toolkit. It's been bad. So if this is a cohort or anything on the table, we don't have to deal with it right away. So we have the boomerang for the face check we want to. Did our opponent, they kept. So I don't think we do much here. Friend of a friend goes well with transfer, wealth, and Chesva. I mean, every card goes well with Chesva and if you're installing it. But yeah, it's good with transfer. I wonder if you play Praxis. Like, I feel like you're just building a bad sub deck at that point. Okay. Do we need to do double gamble? I think Hermes is fine. If this is cohort, we need to deal with it. But there's not that many cards on the table we have to deal with on turn 1. Ladderwort won't fire, so it'd have to be cohort. So if we install 3, we're down to 3 cards. Is that dangerous? A bit. We'll take some danger. This game doesn't care if you want to play Baz. I don't know it will. It's been rough. Baz has been super underperforming. It's like an ability I was so excited for in spoiler season. And then like the way that actually plays out in practice, it's like just so underwhelming. And I'm glad at least Az does something probably in the meta still. So it's just a spin. They kept this hand. I guess we're deciding, oh, this was after mandatory, so you can still petty here if you want to. If they don't, that's pretty telling. It means either they want to get down to underneath Bladderwort or they might be on a Plutus list. Okay, they pettied. So maybe Holloman? The more money they have, sometimes it's not that scary. Wage workers, okay. So some of the earlier lists were on this. We have to deal with this card for sure. Badass, if you will, yeah. Yeah, better as, I don't know. It seems rough. So I don't know if we have the click compression to play Knick-Knack. This is actually an issue. It's like Knick-Knack seems good, but we don't have the click compression to get away with a Knick-Knack. We honestly don't. There's going to be like 6 ice in this match. Whenever I think I see if I think Fate of All Fools. Ren, how's it going? Last click power draw with Wage Workers. Sometimes it makes you do that. It's just how it is. So we need to deal with Wage Workers. We need to deal with the remote server. The most damage we can take from the remote server is Sai Santan. We can take 2 because we'll boomerang it. An enemy, we take 2. The problem is if we install the boomerang, we have one fewer card. What in the remote server do we need to deal with? I don't know. Could be see how they run with the wage workers makes a bit of a sense. But do we want to face check this? If it's a Smaxamoon, we can just bounce off of it. Last time I built Baz, I definitely just switched the ID to Merc and worked better. I've heard that from a couple people so far. Okay, that's fine. I think we just do Sure Gamble, run this and see what happens. We can't flatline unless the card in their remote server flatlines us. I want to deal with the wage workers. They gonna res? I shouldn't have hit that button. It's a Samak. Okay. That's bad. We can't boomerang this. Or we can, it just hurts. So I think we install the no free lunch. If that's a sting, how much damage does it do? I think we just deal with the wage workers here. We can't go through this for 3 damage. We're really bad at dealing with this. It might have been wrong to install the no free lunch, let's be honest. This card in hand is worth more than 3 credits on this board state. So run the wage workers means they can't score an agenda and then do something. So like install a FUT. Triple advance FUT. So Sting does 1 damage. Fuji, they can't really do. I'll just deal with the wage workers. I don't like to deal with this spin on the table, but this seems important. Our money's okay. Next turn, we're going to be drawing a lot. We're going to have a huge problem with this card. We have 1 card in our deck that deals with it. What's cool, a lot of people probably miss this in paper, is if you go through the Samaxamoon subroutine, the runner suffered the damage. You didn't do damage. So the runner does, you don't get an Oko counter, which is kind of neat. I think any Baz deck that isn't running 3 windows is a mistake. Kind of, but that's the problem, is the more I think you put events in the deck, the more it feels like it shouldn't be a Baz deck, right? Like I want to play transfer, I want to play bravado, I want to play clean getaway. Then if I play transfer, then if I play window of opportunity, it's like we're so not full of Baz options. And merely I think we have too many Baz options. It feels like, oh, that's really important to get down before we lose it. Luckily the board state hasn't changed much, besides they could do damage with this card, so we have to get the after image down. We'll draw, install the after image. This can deal with Tai, they can deal with Saisan Tan. We don't need stealth credits. The only ice we need this is bigger, and not a lot of sub or over 2 strength sentries you see in the lists. I've heard some people play a teeny though. That's gonna be a problem. Window's a pretty good criminal card. No, I don't mind it. I really don't. But like windowing a Samaxamoon, there's turns where it's really good. 3 credits is 3 credits. It's just like, it is a bit more situational than some of your other cards. But I like window a lot, especially because it click compresses your installs, which is cool. It's just such a hard card. I haven't even played it in Az decks a lot. Market timing is good for knick-knack next turn. Yeah, it's not bad. We'll probably use it, especially if we have to check. We'll just save a credit on the open market, right? They discarded a card, so we need to check archives for Regenesis. That's how we usually lose these. So we'll install this for 2. We'll run server 4. We'll trash the open market. We got our move safe cracker. That's good. Teeny's pretty decent. I believe it. It's a bite. Okay, so we won't trash it. We have a tag. We lost Moo, Boomerang, and Chesva. Not good hits. So I wish you could do 1 and 1. You can't. So they're clearly trying to tag us. Luckily, they can't score Regenesis anymore, so I think we just do draw, remove, tag. Because they don't have the funds. This is a bite. I didn't trash it so that they can't get it back in the bin easily with Spin Doctor. And it doesn't turn out Oppo research and other stuff, but that was a bite. I'm happy they spent 4 credits. I think losing the Boomerang sucks. Losing the Chesva is not great, but in this matchup, it's not the most important card. What do we knick-knack next turn? I don't know. I don't think it actually lines up that well. This card seems very hopeful. I think we lie low. I think we run archives. They got 1 Alco counter for 4 credits. That starts. Their ability hasn't fired yet. Cool. They're going to show us a lot of cards. Did you want NFL to take the tag off? No. I don't think we want to use this card until we're forced to use this card. Their hand is Regenesis, Tattoo Ball, Spin Doctor, Cohort. So they have 1 hidden card. It's on top of the bite. So it could be one of these. I think we definitely want to still check But we need to make sure that we don't get Regenesis. So we losing the Kurapira to damage would be a disaster. So I think we have to no free lunch to install the Kurapira. Or we'll just install the Kurapira run archives. Knack the Kurapira. Knack is the biggest disappointment. The set it's not even close. It's amazing how much worse the card is than Aesop's. It was like, turns out Jeff was right. This card is way worse than Pawn Shop. There's still some reasons to play it. Wait, was Tehran, not Tehran, was Wenjong even on Knack? No, yeah. It is really not that great. So it was 2 unseen cards, so that we don't have to worry about Regenesis anymore. This could be a cohort, which we want to deal with, but we can't this turn. We now still break this for 3 credits, which is not great. So it is a cohort. Unfortunately, that means outgo fire, so we have to deal with this. I don't know if we install Bachlan off the open market just to trash it for 2. Like, it is so convoluted. Imagine installing the Knick-Knack for 2 just so we can trash a card to draw a card and gain 2. And then like we install this Bachlan for 2 so we can trash it for 2. It's like, none of it makes sense. You really need targets that have limited value. And Criminal does have some. It's just like really hard. And then you have to get it at the first run, and it's a lot of work. Someday we'll probably complain about how good Knick-Knack is, just like it felt like I'm missing a few support pieces. I want to see more of the decks that are like actually on Principia, because Principia is one of the few Knick-Knack targets that's really good. It's just like, it doesn't line up consistently enough. Convoluted is the name of the game for Shapers. I don't think Pawn Shop is convoluted though. And I don't think any of the good Shaper decks right now are convoluted. It's just like very often I do think people make bad runs. I want to play Lobia or Orica Spark with Link. I seen Tehran play that, and that's kind of fun. So now we have to worry about Regenesis again. We have to worry about Cohort again, and we are just struggling with the deck. We have an Azimut. We have one Azimut. Man, this is not going well. I wouldn't say guaranteed horrible. I would say probably bad, but I think it'll be funny. I think it actually can do like some stuff. It just will be clumsy. Okay, so we still don't know what Silver 3 is. There's a chance of Regenesis. FUT's on the table. We're on 7 credits. We have to be able to check archives to not die to Regenesis, while we also have to deal with FUT. This is the worst feeling for Netrunner, to know that you just cannot interact with the table because you just don't have... You don't have the credits. We don't have the click compression. We don't have anyway. We don't have text. It is just the worst feeling to be stuck against something that is going to kill you, do horrible things, and you can't deal with it. Pawn Shop felt like a 2-card combo. Pawn Shop and Cole was just good enough. Without KK, you need like 3 pieces in the right order. Yeah, but Pawn Shop was even fine. Like, I'd pawn my no free lunch. Oh, no, I wouldn't pawn my no free lunch. It doesn't make sense. So we can maybe get a bounce here. So we steal, okay, say we run archives and it's a Fuji. Okay, we run archives, it's a Fuji into a Sting. So we take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage. So we can't, if we can't deal with FUT, we can't really run. Sell the Hermes if you need the money now. I think we're just going to pop the no free lunch. I don't think we actually need the Hermes money. But like installing the Cheswa just to pawn the Cheswa, like, oh man. So we have to check archives or the Regenesis. Hermes is good because it opens a FUT. So if they give us an agenda, FUT gets trashed. Like, that's the best case we have. So I think we just run archives and hope. No Knick-Knack. We're probably going to take some damage here with FUT and some discarded cards, but at least we can open up a FUT. Yeah, there's a Regenesis. That's fine. So we will Hermes this ice, and so we can deal with FUT. Okay. We lost Cheswa and Penumbral. Fine. So now we have to deal with both of these, but these cost 5 credits, so we literally cannot do it. Oh my god. What's more important? Like, Cohort can never advance an agenda. FUT's probably more important, but not on this board state. I wish we didn't install the Knick-Knack. I actually think it was worse for us than installing it. I would rather have the money off of the thing. Cohort gives a counter per turn, yeah. That means Oko will fire. But like, FUT means we can't touch cards. 5 cards would have been possible without selling Hermes? Yeah, but then we can't get to the FUT because then there's ice there. Right? Like, we needed the Hermes for the FUT. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. Dude, I'm crashing out hard. Okay. So Cohort is bad because Oko fires and you have all that sort of stuff. FUT is bad because it's FUT. And we need to deal with the FUT. I think we have to let Cohort fire one more time. Is it worth it to play Flip Switch? I've been including the decks and treating me amazingly since against Oko. I don't think so. It's not that much better than Boomerang in a lot of situations. And if you clean the tag, No Free Lunch feels better. I think a lot of the earlier decks ran it, but it feels like there's not a lot of ice that you faceplant into. Like, admittedly, I faceplanted and died into 1 or 2 of the matchups already. But Boomerang would save you there and it's a bit better. I'm just dealing with the FUD. You can have Cohort, it's fine. Oh, looks who's gonna click for credit. I don't care anymore. We'll get out of this game sooner than later. Sick. Like, playing against this sort of matchup with not a good deck, and I'm sorry to Fire L, I don't mean it's a good deck, but this doesn't feel like a great matchup. It feels so rough. We are so click and press to draw. That is the biggest thing, is we're so click and press to draw cards that next turn, the only safe thing to do is to draw. And if we're doing that, we're not interacting with the board, and Alco is drawing 4 cards a turn. It feels so bad to have to just draw for 4 on 0 credits. Oh, cool. Seems strong for a core set product. It's stronger with the bigger card pool, right? Like Oko is, none of these cards are in the set that Oko's with. These are all cards from different parts of history. I like the idea of forcing resin with Flip Switch. It sucks at the moment with the meta being acid spam, so Baz might be well blank. Yeah, solid. So far it's been blank. Or nearly blank. But the idea is like in a lot of those situations, I would rather trade that for a Boomerang, which just feels like a better card. But running and jacking out is fine. It's just I'd rather run and get through the ice. Like, I don't want to play this. We're not making decisions. We have to deal with all this stuff, so we need money. We need cards in hand. Regenesis is going to cook us. We drew our Azima. Oh, I think we sell our Kurapira. I'm just not losing to. I know they have Regenesis. Knickknack? No. Actually, it might be right. Yeah, F it. We have 3 Hermes. Sting. Okay, cool. I have a lot of fun playing with and against Oko. I do Solemn as long as I'm playing a competitive deck. Like if I was playing a Hoshiko or a Sable against this, I think it would be totally fine. Oh, I forgot there's Bladderware on the table. But playing against this sort of deck, no, not for me. Yeah, very much not for me. Oko's cool to play. It gives you a lot of good decisions. Like it is kind of sick to play on the other side of the table. That's for sure. I have enjoyed my time with Oko. But this is like what's happening is like the more time that I spend recording or hanging out and playing, you know, something that might be a bit strange, the more I end up in situations like against Alco or against Nebula and realizing that like we're not really doing that much. Apologies, I think I'm repeating myself a bit too much, so I think I'll be quiet from this point forward. But you know what I mean? It's like a lot of our cards are blank when the problem that they're delivering is so severe and Snowball is so hard. Sick. All right, so Bladderworts, they can't duck, so we don't have to deal with them. We're just gonna try and touch cards. We probably should click for credits more than touch cards. They'll get something on the table that they can res, and then they can duck this. So we need to get our money up. Actually, like installing a card instead of clicking for credits means this card is worth 2 credits. Because if we install it, we lose a card in hand. Having cards in hand is actually kind of important. So I can't tell if we want to play it. The worst part about playing against Outco is it supports so many strategies that it's hard to play around everything. Yeah, I think you find out quickly better for worse if it's on Oppo or something else. But it's just such a flexible shell. And all these cards, like if you don't deal with them, like that turn we should have dealt with the cohort. Not Ren HQ. We probably should have just dropped Azimat, dealt with the cohort. This is a bigger issue. The thing is that the cohort fires, though, they have more money, and the more money they have, the less likely the Battle Wars will fire. So I don't know. At some point, maybe we'll just let them have too much money. Less runner meta, you can be able to beat HB Rush. Now you need to be Oko Grinder. I don't know, maybe. I think generally when people talk about the Gatekeeper, they talk about like a more basic deck, right? Like, oh, this is the first deck you should try and beat. And I don't think Oko is exactly there. You can play control checking new cards. Yeah, I think we probably will. We'll just transition to checking new cards and then Baz does nothing. Imagine if Oko had Gatekeeper though. Oh my god. What are they spending their influence on? We haven't seen it. Is this the one that was on Bite? Oh, Wage Workers? Yeah. So this is probably one of the older versions. If it's on Blood in the Water. Yeah, Hostels for sure. Spin Doctors for sure. 2 Wage Workers, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I don't think they're on measured response is my guess. This looks like an older version. This could be a Fly Swatter. We can't deal with it. I think Elko's represented enough that a runner doesn't fall down against it or assets easily. Yeah. Reaper. Oh, that's bad. 2 spins, hiding a card. Can't deal with ice. We have 3 credits. It's a fun. Okay. That's fine. So we can check this. I think we have to. We could do credit class act check it. Oh, but then we can't trash anything. It's fine. It's fine. We'll sell them the class act. We're going to sell it next turn. So I think it's a spin. That's a Reaper. Okay. So Reaper means they do 2 damage for tempo. It's whatever. I think we'll install this because we're going to have more cards in hand. We need the Shibboleth not to die to the Reaper, which is really funny. They might just keep this for combo, but we have to deal with the FUD. We'll get through this. We'll get through this. It's fine. Okay, so they're not resing it. We have to remember they can duck this. This thing costs 3, right? Yeah. But luckily the Bladderworts are not firing. The cohort is the thing that's giving us most attention, but if we trash it, we take 2 damage. They're not often on 3 Blood in the Waters. So here they really need to rely on Regenesis, but actually I think their best play is just install Advance of Fuji. If you install Class Act and sell to Knickknack, would it end a turn trigger still happens? No, because it's not there. So this has to be here for your discard phase to draw its ability. It's different if the card initiates a run, because then the run's locked in with those conditions. But if it's just an ability that fires later on, it has to be there. Why not better bottom second red team? Surely the toolkit was better. Maybe. I think running HQ and dropping the toolkit for 0 would be kind of fine. Double red team is useless. Yeah, let alone 1 red team is bad. I'm just trying to get through this, I'll be honest. But yeah, we probably should have not taken a red team, let alone 2 red teams. Give me 1 second, I just need to close the door. Okay. So now Fuji is 5 cards from our hand. It's 5 cards, Fuji. Hard to understate. That's a lot of cards. 5 cards is a lot to steal with Fuji. And so we have to steal with Fuji, deal with Regenesis. So we have to do all of that at the same time. If we do, we win. But it's really tricky. So if we install the Shibboleth, we can run this. We're assuming that this is a Fly Swatter. We'll sell the Class Act. We'll run Archives. We'll do everything. We might flatline. Obo P 5 drags, I know. Well, yeah, we just have to take the 5 damage from FUD. At least if we do that, we're on game point. But this deck runs no other 2-pointers, I don't think. We have to just win off of a Fuji, which they might have in hand. Running Archives is a bit scary. We could die to a Sting, but we need to know what 12 and 13 are. I don't think they're going to be able to duck Bladderwort, which is good. But we're going to lose a lot of cards in hand. Nice. We're not going to install cards. We just want our hand. So we break this for 2 credits. Don't call event. If they call event, I'll be really happy. We're still going to break it. It's just kind of funny. Remember the Reaper next turn? Yeah, they still can't Bladderwort us. We have to play around Reaper. They called hardware. Respect. Fully break for 2. It's a Sting? Okay, so they're not pushing the Fuji. That's surprising. Luckily FUT's the first time. Okay. So class act install might be decent. Yeah, it's all our money. So we probably have to do class act check if this is a sting. Or class act check if this is a regenesis. Both of them are pretty legitimate lines. I think we do definitely get this down. I'm glad that we survived. We died a bite. You can knick-knack it back next turn. Yeah, we definitely will. But we have to play around regenesis. It's a Reaper. Okay. So they duck to 6 to 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dies to Fuji. Yeah, that's true. We died to Fuji. Fine. They can get us down to no cards if they fire both of their Reapers. Yeah, we would die to Fuji there. It's a bit safer than checking archives. I think if they had a Fuji, they would put in Silver 12, but they didn't advance the card. Are we worried about Fuji? I think they're trying to set up a Regenesis. But if they do Reaper, they're down to 3 credits. And then they can do a Bladder Ward, and so we can take 5 damage. So we technically survive. If they have another Blood in the Water, we die to that. Oh, also if they have a 2-1. If they have fast advance 2-1, we die to it. But yeah, when the board snowballs, like, what can you do? It's like, we can't deal with the FUT. We can't deal with the hostile. Hopefully the Bladder Words don't do anything. So they could have the kill here. Not too difficult. They just need a Blood in the Water or a small agenda. I think this version's probably not on the small 2-1, but there goes our hand. We have 12 cards left. If we were on 4 points, we would start being a bit aggressive because we went on a Fuji before any of the text on anything else matters. But the problem is we now have to deal with a Fuji and deal with FUT. Right? Like Fuji at least doesn't have text, but if you're on 3 points, you're not there yet. And next turn, what do? We just draw. The Bladder Words won't fire again. We can probably run HQ. I wonder with FUT tracking all the trashing, if I can sneak Strigodic onto the table and stick it for a couple turns. I'd be surprised. It's an interesting card. It does, you have to click it to do damage once per turn at a maximum. But Spoot now can just easily set up a Fuji Regenesis, and we lose to a lot of different things. And Solid Advance here is so good. If not, if it's Wage Workers, I think we're okay. But I think here we have to like decide to run Archives. We'll run draws with Class Act. So we'll probably have to just do draw. Just 3 draws, run Archives, and hope. Oh, actually, no. We can lose to Cohort. So yeah, we have to run Archives. You can click it more than 1 a turn. It only gains counters 1 a turn. Really? I thought it was only once per turn damage. Okay, so cohort means you can never advance a 5/3, but that needs face down cards in archives. So Wage Workers doesn't do it. So I think we should do triple draw run archives. It doesn't matter. They get res a hostile to duck the Bladder Ward. We can still die to this. You can KK the class act, yeah, for sure. Moon pools, actually. We do lose to moon pools, so we just have to run archives to keep the moon pools on Regenesis honest. Nothing. Wow. Okay. So all the agendas are still on the table? Returning player, do stealth credits still exist? Yeah. I saw a mention on an after image, but not any NSG cards on Netrunner DB. Oh, NSG has a bunch of stealth cards. So we have Penumbral Toolkit. There is also Trickster Taka, which we have in our heap. We have a couple cards that have stealth credits. So Trickster Taka makes stealth credits. How's it going, by the way? A returning player. Trickster Taka has stealth credits. There's Mantle, which is not in our deck that has stealth credits. And then Penumbral Toolkit's the other big one. So there's a couple cards. HQ must be full of points, which I now think is the table being full of points. But I'm very surprised there's no agendas. They look like a bit... they're struggling to feel safe discarding agendas. Even with a Spin Doctor at the table, I'm surprised. They're doing this all before start of turn. They're still drawing 4 cards a turn. We have to keep up somehow. Yeah, there's some other stealth payoffs. Mantle, Penrose. I don't think is a barrier. Searching the DB on card text, not traits. Yeah, if you search subtype stealth, that'll get you for sure. Because stealth doesn't show up on all the cards. A lot of the cards just have credits on them, and stealth is in the subtype, like this one here. For what it's worth, stealth hasn't been supported functionally in like the last, I don't know, like 4 years, but it could come back in the future. But it's definitely not like a high stealth point right now. They can only draw that much for another couple of turns. I think they should have been able to set up a fork sooner than later. They've shuffled back 2 Reapers. Wild. Yeah, I'm surprised they're not just like jamming a Fuji. Because there's FUT that's going to be on 2 counters. Like we can't take 5 damage and survive that. So install advance. Okay, 2 ice. I don't think ice is gonna be a problem unless it's an enemy. So our goal is just like to have 5 cards in hand, run centrals, steal a Fuji, steal something, win. They're gonna deck out? No, probably not. It's really easy for them to like just jam a Fuji with cohort. We have to check archives every turn. Are they letting themselves mill out? No, they shouldn't. They just need to score a Fuji. The thing is, the Fuji on the table doesn't win us the game. So if they can get a Fuji on the table, we're kind of cooked. Or are we point we're selling our breakers for 1 hit points relevant? Honestly, yes. It's the credits as well. But I would discard. Actually, I can't tell. Definitely not the after image. Probably not the Kurapira. So maybe the Shibboleth, but we know that one of these ice is a fly swatter, so probably not. All right, so one of these is the Reaper. I do think they're kind of tunneling on the Reaper kill. We have to run archives to deal with cohort. We have to run HQ. They threw away all the tattoos. Yeah, you're right, they did. And one Samag accounted for. Maybe you're right. Maybe we can get rid of the Kurapira. I need to run archives. Not this turn. Spin, okay. So now we can run HQ. Yeah, 2 Samags accounted for. Well, it's all good. Do it up. Still got time. And like if we face check, what are we installing with Baz? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. So 2 unseens. Okay, that tracks. Okay, so we're not taking any damage, which is fine. So that means Regenesis isn't a concern. Peer review is not super common. I don't know if they're on Plutus. We haven't seen a lot of influence. Yeah, last spin is gone. So if we run HQ, this is what I'm worried about. If we run HQ, we end up taking damage. Like say that we hit a Sting, we take, what is it, 4 damage because I don't know the text on Sting. And then we die to Reaper on the table. So it's just like, I think we do nothing this turn because I don't think they can win. But if they score an agenda, we're also going to lose. If they score a Sting, we die, right? It'll be 6 damage. If there's a Sting on the table, we just lose. So that's good. We can put Side Hustle down. There's no shot we can put Side Hustle down. Just 2 damage from Sting? No. No, because of Fut. Fut's 3. Sting is 4. We died to this like last game. I think it's 4. There's no way of knowing. The math gets too complicated. Yeah, Fut's the problem. Like Fut's always the problem. If you can't deal with Fut, the game is like very, very cooked. So if they do Reaper, they're down to 5. Yeah, if they score a Fut, we also lose. So like in theory, we have to run this table. There's only 1 more Stink, but they've been drawing aggressively. So I think they want to set it up. So we could run server 12. It's an enemy. We're on 2 cards. So if we can't steal a Sting anyways. So the best we can do is draw, run server 12 and hope. F it. I don't care. Sting could be on 16. I think it'd be better on 16. Show me an enemy. Yeah, cool. Okay. This is also really bad ordering because it can set up a Regenesis. Because they can get an agenda in the bin now. So if it's a Fuji, we die. But there's no play that we don't die to. If we don't run, we die. If we run, we die. So I guess we run. Good game. Did we have to run that? No, but if it's a Sting, we die. GG. Thanks for the game. Yeah. Our ability was not relevant. That was not really great. I feel like I'm really struggling to play weird stuff in this meta and have a good time doing it. I think this Baz I probably could have seen from a distance. It wasn't going to do it for me. A lot of this Baz deck is about like the dream of multi-access and stealth cards and breaking stuff. And if we sold the Kurapira, we would have lived. Yeah, but we had to do it on the first run, so I don't know. Grinder gaming, that one was a big grinder, that's for sure. That one turned out to be a grinder, but our opponent like could have played, I think, a bit like of a more sleek scoring line than grinder. Yeah, Reaper kills us anyways. Like, there's so many, we can't win at that point. But yeah, this is definitely not it. I just think Baz is probably not it. Yeah. It's just not seems super relevant. The problem is that the corps are delivering. This does not answer. Having credits here, it seems good. Having credits seems good. I don't know. I've repeated myself. This meta casually, this meta feels a bit stifling. It's been a problem. I can't hide that. I anytime we build something weird, it's usually just not a good time, and I don't know how to deal with that. Just so we don't end on a bad note, let's go grab something a bit better. What runner would be your choice to play in this meta? Just play good stuff, Sable. You don't have to struggle against the Nebulas. You don't have to struggle against the Oko. That one's still not the easiest. You just have a good matchup into most things. You're like, have good economy. You have strong multi-acts. You put pressure on centrals. You can just run everything. Like, just play that, or just play Shaper. Just play Don't Die Shaper. Just play your Fermenters over and over again. Play your Stone Chip Chart Rooms. Just don't die. Like, it's kind of weird. Small format but with really impressive corps. Yeah, I feel like I lack the creativity to do a lot of things, and then as soon as you do the weird things, you're like crushed by Nebula and Oko. What order do you want to run? Oh, I played good stuff Sable, but now I'm worried if I shit the bed, I'm gonna have no point to prove. Then having no point is bad because then we're just whinging. I don't know. It's been rough. It's definitely been a bit rough. So what do we want to do? I'll try this. No, I don't have it in me to play some Shaper at this point, I'll be honest. Just play PD. Daria, did you publish your PD list? Oh, you did. Okay. We'll try and play just good stuff PD. So double animatic void, Managarm, no two spin doctors, no Regolith. We're on humanoid. I think Regolith is so much better, but at least we have some operations. We have a corporate hospitality. That's really good for getting your Regolith back. We have a DRM, kind of love it. Our agenda suite is only 8 agendas, 2 vulnerability audits. It's totally fine. We have greasings, seamlesses, top-down solutions. This is a good card. We have 3 pulse. I guess this is our like deep dive cope tech, which is kind of cool. We have a tattoo, which is totally fine. You have to watch out though if you only have cheap ice and bronze, but you only have 1 tattoo, so that's okay. And then 3 drafters. Yeah, we'll play this. This is fine. Eurogame Shaper isn't appealing. It's like really slow. It's kind of slow. Would you be up for a game against me? First time on JNet and comment my playlines and stuff. I worry. So Spider definitely would be down for a later time. At this point, I think I just need to get in like a 20 to 30 minute game because I have to pop out because we have things later tonight. And if we want to do that properly, it's going to take us more than 20 to 30 minutes. So I'm not saying no because it doesn't sound cool. I'm saying just like time constricted right now, it's probably not the best. But if you want to drop by on another Tuesday, 100% that'd be sick. I just need to get in one last game to like cheer myself up. And like, we have to be at a place around 5 o'clock. So we only have a bit less than like maybe 30 minutes. Was that track? Cool, Daywee. Sick. So 45 card Daywee deck. I haven't figured that magic out yet. Hey, best of luck. What are we on? We're on 2 Tranquility. Okay, so we don't have the full playset, but we have one in our hand. Our early ice, I don't really like it. Vulnerability Audit does feel like that. I don't think this hand is amazing. I need to ice up some amount of something because of Daywee. Yeah, we'll mulligan. We just want some cheap stuff. Oh god, that's so much worse. Oh, I hate that we're playing this card. This is really quite bad. So we have 6 hand size. Oh, this is bad. Remove Safecracker to Vulnerability Audit. This is actually like a legitimate part of the meta. That is honestly a bit of a problem. It's based off the agenda suite. I think playing Send a Message is not the worst, but like single Seamless actually really matters against this. This is rough. This is not good. So we have no money. We have a Brawn for the remote server, and we have this hand. I'll leave 3, 6, 7, 8. There's only like 10 points in 37. So we'll hope for the best. Like the thing is you can push out vulnerability for 3 credits if our opponent doesn't check. The issue is we need to also be able to res Brawn or hopefully get at least a defensive upgrade or something that looks like a defensive upgrade. If they see DRM, I wonder how much they just start like hammering HQ, which is going to be an issue. We also have no cards in archives, but we'll see if Daywee runs this turn. Oh, that's a scary thing to deal with. Probably means they're on overclock. Cool. No day we run, no flip. So bronze really expensive, but if they run a first click, it's kind of good for us. I assume for Daywee they'd want to set it up a wee bit. So pulse, I don't want to do. We could just install offboard credit and hope that they don't run it. It's not my favorite play pattern, so I think we just play a bit slower here and wait for a defensive. We're holding more than half the points in the deck. Jam off trust. I would be okay with it if we're on 6 credits. I'll do it next turn. Oh, that's really good. That gives us ability. That's really, really slow. Hey, Condi. I didn't try Mayfly Daywee. Didn't feel that good. They're on 0 credits now. If they install the artist, they have to hit the artist, right? Oh, they didn't. Okay. We install this pulse, we can go up to 6 and then have 2 breakers. The thing is, this doesn't actually like do anything. They run first click, we can get the pulse behind it, but we can't res it. Okay. They're playing some slow cards. Is this Harmonic PD? No, this is just a not against PD from OTG. It's just good stuff PD. It does have pulses, and I think that is just like, so you can play a code gate and so you can deal with deep dive. All right, they didn't run. Surprised. Drafter doesn't do anything, so we'll score 7. We'll get back our seamless. I'm just gonna throw out the DRM. Pop out for a bio break and come back to unders, continued flood luck. Oh, this is okay. We can actually manage with this. Our opponent is not very aggressive, it seems. And so we can be on game point and like, we can win in 2 turns, 3 turns. Because we got Managar and Braun. Their credits, we need to go faster than the artist. But so far, Daywee hasn't done anything. I'm glad the JNet's working and the arts come back. That's good. They haven't used the second mode on artist. I think they've clicked it, but only on 1 turn so far. They're undoing card draw. Can't really do that. Wait, what's going on? You can't draw and then undraw. Are you playing another after this? Probably not. It's getting a bit late and I have to pop out a bit early. We've been streaming already for 3 hours and a half. Yeah, they can't undraw. We have to res this, unfortunately. It just looks weird in chat. No, but doesn't it say clicks to spin artist, click to draw a card? Then they did basic action, undo click. Did they not undraw? So the hard call on the Physarum. So they can get through this with a Mayfly. Their MU is not full. They have a 50% chance of getting something nice here. Oh, we're firing. Okay, we're not Mayflying it. Okay. They did uninstalling something? Oh, okay. Oh, they wanted to muse with the artist, maybe. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I guess they got halfway through it, so it looks like they're undoing the draw because it didn't register the second action. That makes more sense. All right, so we're going to be on game point. We can actually double seamless this and jam the Inkatana and win. This will be not a lot of credits. Rejig? Are they moving the Physarum? Because they played the rejig and they got a card in hand. What happened? Oh, they put a Slap Vandal. Okay, cool. Physarum on the pulse. Sick. 14 credits. Looking good. The heck is gone, Pat. It's not uncommon. It's like, it's a 4-3. We play seamless. It's fine. I just don't like that world that we live in. Send a message would be better. Yeah, actually not necessarily. So 50-50. Nice. We got the flip. So we can add a card back. We'll add the seamless. So if we jam the Ingaton, we can be on game point. They have to deal with Braun and Managarm. So if they click through this, they can pay 5. They can deal with it. At least it keeps them busy. This might not be the play. Makes sense. I was wondering if I could play a game if I got back from work. Oh, apologies. Yeah, probably not today. Their money's good. They can challenge us. They have Mayfly. If this was an Anoetic, we'd be cooking. You can't res Brand Managarm, though. Yeah, you're right. We're credit short. I don't think it's going to matter. I think resing the Braun's going to do enough. If they Mayfly, the Braun's pretty expensive. If they run it 2, I don't think we're too upset because we can just jam the vulnerability out of the next turn. Let's see what they do. They muse for Physarum. They want to make a run on less than full MU. They can't use the Muse because they're full on MU. I think they're figuring out. Yeah, because Mayfly's 2, they have no hardware. So there's no way the Muse whiffs. I think they should trash something. Pulse plus Gram is probably better anyways. Yeah, you're right. They have money though, but Pulse into Managar means that they have to spend 5 credits. That's probably a bit better. So maybe they trash something? You can't trash the Muse because it has to be hosted on the Muse, right? They're coming for us. I want to res the Brawn. Okay, so we res the Pulse. They can bypass it for 2. But this is when you res the Ice, they lose a click. Huh. So thinking. So if we res this, they go down to no clicks. So then Managarm is 5 credits. And then this is probably 2 credits. So that means they spend 7. Otherwise, if we res the Brawn, we're on 1 credit. But if they want to get through the Brawn, they have to go through the Mayfly, which is 5, 6, 7, 8. Then they trash the Managarm, that's 9, 10, 11. I think I'd rather just res the Brawn here. If we res Pulse Managarm, again, they spend 2 on this and a click. The Managarm, they spend, thinking. This would have been a good jam. Brand won't allow mana? Yeah, we can't res both. But if we just res the Brand, they trash the Managarm. The Pulse is cheaper, but the Managarm, they pay 5 for it. So it's about the difference with the Brawn, but it forces out the Mayfly. Yeah, I think we do Brawn and then we jam next turn anyways. Because the Brawn just costs them the most. It uses a Mayfly. And then we'll have the Pulse into the Brawn, which is a bit better if we set that up. Brawn's such a cool ice. Really, really good ice. One of the best ice right now. It's a bit overtuned. It is slightly overtuned. Yeah, this is pay 8 and it chases out the Mayfly, which is good. And if they trash the Managarm, it'll be down on 4. If they don't, we'll have Managarm, Brawn, Pulse, as much as we need a top deck economy. So they snap trash the Managarm. They got 2 points. Dewi did not flip? Oh, because the Mayfly's still there? Oh, that's awful. When the run ends. I thought the Mayfly would be gone. But it's not the case. Huge 1 and 3 here. Massive 1 and 3. They know one of the cards in our hand. Good. Then Dewi flips sick. Oh, no. Install credit, I think is all we do. We'll be on 0 credits if the Pulse fires. But if the Pulse fires, they can't get through the Brawn. Or they actually can get through the Brawn. Okay, Azimuth. I guess they're just focusing on Dewi right now. So we should be fine here. Huge 1 and 3, because then they can win off of R&D. But we've seen most of the points in the game. They're doing good at making Dewi fire. Okay, good. Can't deep dive us super easily, if at all. You don't see a lot of times the hard Physarum. That's tricky. One of the Physarums whiffed, but I think they just want to get MU up. All right, that should be game. They can't break this. They're short the credit. I think we have an agenda that goes onto the remote servers, so this run on HQ is like very aggressive. I think this is for Dewi reasons because they got the DZ down, but if they want to get the Dewi value, they should run archives. But that means they spent the DZ just run archives. I think you're short the credit. Oh, no worries. Did you see my camera flicker? I think that happened. You want to undo? Yeah, no new actions are gained. If they want to run archives, they can get the Dewi flip. Okay, just artist is fine, and that's the game. Good game. Yeah, big one. I didn't have enough to res everything there. But really big. I had 3 more points in hand. You kept missing. All right. Cool. Artist, a bit slow. That was an 8-turn game, though. That's like the PD that you're expecting. But the pressure was like just the daily pressure more than anything else. And then we obviously grab a card back. Here we grab the Mana Garm if we have this longer game. Oh no, we had a Mana Garm. We'd grab a Seamless. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah, clicking. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot cheaper. Weirdly enough. Interesting. We haven't seen a lot of this deck, but we'll probably see more of it later. Thanks for the game. All right, that's it for today. Sorry that this was a bit of a downer stream. Hopefully you're doing a bit better than I am at the moment. I need to hope that my stomach holds on for the next 12 hours would be a treat because it's just been bad. A huge shout out to all these names here and more that help support the Metropole Grid so we can do stuff like this, streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Maybe Pat will be joining on a Thursday. We'll find out in the near future. We had a couple of nice new folks following. Damian Shubrakovic, who upgraded their from the Daily Cast going up to the Sure Gamble tier. Thank you so much. And we have a couple other names I think that just ended up here finally that we did the re-export last night. So thanks so much for supporting the channel. Get some soup. Thank you. I really need to. We're like traveling out to a thing tonight and we have a metro strike. So our public transport is on strike here in Montreal. So trying to figure out how long it'll take to get somewhere is always very difficult, but we'll get there for sure. That's, I think, mostly it. We're hopefully going to be recording some gameplay for Zwicky up on the channel. It feels like it's been a bit. That has been a corp deck that I felt has been just really fun, almost regardless of what the field is. Whether it's a tier 1 deck, that's up to you for sure. But we'll get some stuff up on the channel. If you want to watch, I'll put the link in the description. Oh, shout out also to Wonky Wombat who joined on the Greenmail tier. We'll set up some lessons real soon. But if you want to watch some more Netrunner, there is Neon Static streamed last night, but also very importantly, you can watch OTG, which is on Orbital Tangent's Twitch channel. I'll have the link in the description. I worry that it won't be on there forever. I don't know if it's going to be archived or saved somewhere, which kind of gives you that sort of FOMO. If you don't watch it now, maybe you'll never watch it. But that was streamed this weekend. I don't think the early games in Swiss have commentary, but it has the player mics on, which is actually kind of interesting as well. But with that, we'll be back on Thursday. Thanks so much for hanging out, and we'll see you in the next one.